Okay, so today is January 10th. Wizards of the Coast finally revealed the last of the cards to be spoiled for Theros. So, gonna go ahead and do all 254 cards in one shot here. I've only stayed active in watching about 50% of the spoilers, I'd say. Some of them I'd see pop up, but I would just try and ignore. So only the most, I guess, popular ones I've seen so far. So this set I know is a lot about enchantments and gods, some indestructibleness, and what do they call it? Escape. So it seems to be pretty exciting. I'm going to put in the deck list the description below, the timestamps of the different colors. We're just going to work our way down from white all the way down to, I think, lands are last. And yeah, I want to get a review going so I'm more aware of what cards are and letting you guys know as well. The early access event starts next week on Wednesday, which is the 15th, I believe. I got invited to that, so I'll be streaming all day the early access event to show you the new cards in action. Because some of these cards I'm sure we're going to see and kind of wonder the exact mechanics on what is going to exactly happen when they go on the stack or the triggers and such. So I'm going to do my best to try and divulge what I think. I'm a highly competitive person. I made it to gold after all so far this season. Anyways, yeah, let's get into it. So first up, Alciet of Life's Bounty. And I'm going to mention that I'm going to give a rating 1 out of 5, whatever out of 5 on each card for constructed typically. And if they only seem like they're ever going to get play in limited, I'll give it that rating as well. So Alcide of Life's Bounty, it's a white for a 1/1 lifelink creature nymph. For 1 generic, sacrifice for a target creature or enchantment you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. This seems highly situational. You not only do you have to have the creature on the board and not be dead, but you also have to pay an extra mana to get your other creature or enchantments, which still has to already be on the board, protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. I think only in very niche decks this will see any play. I'm going to say 2 out of 5. Archon of Falling Stars. So 6 CMC with 2 white, 2 devotion of white. I should mention that, like, I know devotion is part of the set here. So when you see a mana cost of a color in its casting cost, that's called a devotion. So it is 2 devotion to white, just for what it's worth. And I've also seen some broken infinite combos that are now going to be available in standard, partly because of this card. So I'll mention that, but let's go over it. So it's a creature flying 4/4. When Archon of Fallen Stars dies, you may return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So I can definitely see this being powerful. Obviously, I don't know a lot of the enchantments that are further down in the list here, but also in this set, a lot of these cards are going to be creatures that are enchantments. So they count as both creature and enchantment, like Alciet of Life's Bounty that we just reviewed. But think of something even like a Doom Foretold. Enchantment. He can get it back, so it's a 4 CMC card, but Archon of Falling Stars, he's a 4/4 flyer, and he will return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now, the thing you have to kind of compare this against in particular is the Cavalier of Dawn, I think it is. I forget if that's a 5 or a 6. I want to say it's a 5 CMC, but when it dies, it gets to bring back an artifact or enchantment from the graveyard to the battlefield. So I don't see how this is necessarily that much better, honestly. Am I remembering everything correctly on Cavalier of Dawn? I think I am. So I don't know. 3 out of 5 because it has a powerful effect, and a 4/4 flyer is worth noting too. The Cavalier of Dawn was just a 3/5 with vigilance, I think, or maybe a 4/5. So yeah, Archon of Sun's Grace, a 4 CMC for a 3/4. This is a rare card. Flying and lifelink. Pegasus creatures you control have lifelink. Constellation. So constellation just means whenever you put an enchantment on the battlefield, something happens. create a 2/2 white Pegasus creature token with flying. So a lot of the reason people think white is weak these days is because of lifelink. It's one of the primary keywords for white, and generally life gain doesn't win you games. Now, if you were to combo your lifelink and your Pegasus with some sort of additional benefit value like a Johnny's Pride bait, you might be able to make some sort of deck. But I think it's going to be highly situational, once again, very niche. I'm going to put this as, for a 4 CMC, it is pretty powerful. I'm going to say a 3 out of 5. Banishing Light, 3 CMC enchantment. Okay. First real enchantment here. That's not a creature. When Banishing Light enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until Banishing Light leaves the battlefield. So this to me seems pretty powerful. Think of Conclave Tribunal, right? That's at baseline 4 CMC cost, but you can convoke that obviously to be much less. But you don't always have that option. And this is a 1 less always. So you could say it's more powerful than Conclave, or you could say it's less or equal. It's kind of right in that middle area, that gray area. So I'm going to say it's strong. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. It's going to see some play in white decks. You have to remember also that Prison Realm exists. Prison Realm, it only works for creatures and planeswalkers. I believe it's a 3 CMC as well. But it's an enchantment that when it comes into the battlefield, it does the same effect. But this just does any non-land permanent, so that's more powerful. I think Prison Realm is a 3 CMC, so this is objectively better. The Birth of Meletis. So 2 CMC Saga. Sagas have returned. So search your library for a basic Plains card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Alright, so already it's pretty powerful. If you think about it, there's spells out there, like especially in green. You pay like 1 green cost, you find a forest, you put it in your hand. So this is 2 CMC, but we have 2 more triggers here. Create a 0/4 colorless wall artifact creature token with Defender, and you gain 2 life. So it was seeming good here at the start, but then it kind of took a nosedive. The wall, you know, this is just a blocker defender. I think in limited it's going to have a lot of value because it's searching for that, it's tutoring for that plains, you know, you can find. Plus it gives you a little bit of defense and a little bit of life. But I think outside of limited, it's not going to see much play. I'm going to say like a 1 out of 5. Captivating Unicorn. It's 5 CMC for a 4/4. Vanilla creature, really, except for Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature and opponent controls. I think this is going to see even a hard time being played in limited. It's that bad. So 1 out of 5. Commanding Presence. So 4 CMC for an enchantment Aura. Cool, auras. You enchant the creature gets +2/+2 and has first strike, and whenever this deals combat damage to a player, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. So as is, I don't necessarily see this card as being strong, but I think there's going to be other cards listed below or in combination that we've had in standard that are either going to reduce the cost of this enchantment or somehow buff it up, make it better in a way that this is going to see some play. So I'm going to say 3 out of 5 because that is a strong effect. 2/2, first strike. That deals combat damage to a human player is nice, but you can't always guarantee that anyways. Dawn of Angel, 3 CMC for a 2/3 enchantment creature. So whenever a creature dies, if an aura you control was attached to it, you return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. So this is kind of conditional on top of conditional. Not only do you have to have this guy out, you have to have another creature, and you have to have an aura attached to that other creature. And the only benefit you're gaining is a 2 CMC creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So obviously this is going to go in a very low to the ground creature slash enchantment aura deck, you know, it might be good in those sort of decks, but I don't see it as being very powerful in general. So like 2 out of 5. Daxos, Blessed by the Sun. So he's a white, and it talks about devotion in here. I remember this one. So Daxos' toughness is equal to your devotion to white. So his devotion to white by himself is already 2. So he comes in as a 2/2 no matter what, basically. And then any other permanents you have on the board that has a white in the mana cost. So whether it's an enchantment, artifact, other creature, planeswalker, anything with a white symbol in the cost, his toughness goes up. Still, I don't know. Say you have another white on the board. That's 2/4. I guess. I don't know. He's a blocker, I guess. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, you gain 1 life. I think in limited he'll be really strong because he'll be able to put up a lot of blocking for you and gain you consequential life gain. But other than that, you know, 2 power, that's not that scary. He's just kind of an annoyance, I guess. I don't see it as a very strong annoyance either, like 2 out of 5. Daybreak Chimera, so 5 CMC for a 3/3. Oof. He has flying. Okay. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is your devotion to white. So that's kind of cool. Depending on what kind of deck you are, if you're a mono white, for example, this could end up costing, by the time you get to turn minimum 2, because the most you could reduce him down to is the white cost, right? So yeah, basically you're thinking maybe minimum turn 3 you can get him down for either 3 CMC or even just a white cost. So 3 for a 3/3 flyer, not too bad. So maybe in a deck with a lot of anthems, a lot of just white weenie, go wide, anthem up, he could be good. But I'm only going to say 3 out of 5 because it's just that specific. Dreadful Apathy, 3 CMC for an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature can attack or block. Exile enchanted creature. So this is like a 2-step. So the first off, you can enchant the creature for 3 CMC, and then another one you get to another 3 CMC, you get to exile him. I feel like that's too slow. It's like trying to do the same thing twice. Also, you have to keep in mind, just because a creature can attack or block doesn't mean it's useless. Think about throwing this on something like a Mayhem Devil. Well, the strongest part of the Mayhem Devil is his passive, where any sacrifices at all, he gets to ping. So that would do nothing to him. So effectively, you would have to cast 6 CMC from this one card alone to get rid of a Mayhem Devil. It doesn't seem good at all to me. So let's say 1 out of 5. Eidolon of Obstruction, 2 CMC. It's a rare. Enchantment, creature, spirit. 2/1, first strike. Loyalty ability of planeswalkers your opponents control costs 1 more to activate. So I don't know the exact rules on this card. To me, this sounds like if you have a plus loyalty counter on a planeswalker, you'll still get that for the same. But if you're going to minus, it's going to cost 1 more. Say, for example, you have a Vraska 4, I forget her name, but she has the +2 if you sacrifice something, and then she has the -3 if you kill something, a permanent, for 3 CMC or less. So I think it would actually cost -4. It would completely kill her in one go. Same thing with Fairy 3, right? He comes in as a 4 loyalty, but to bounce back something costs 3. But loyalty abilities of planeswalkers your opponent's control will cost 1 more to activate. And it's also important to note that it doesn't hurt you too, so that's cool. So you could turn 3 this, turn 2 this, turn 3 Gideon, and just smash. So, I mean, that's a powerful effect. No joke. But I think it's only powerful when you know for sure your opponents are playing planeswalkers. Even then, like a 2/1 creature, I feel like can get removed pretty easily. 3 out of 5. I'm bordering on 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5, but I feel like in certain decks it will be powerful for a 3 out of 5. Elspeth Conquers Death. 5 CMC rare. Saga. Exile target permanent an opponent controls with CMC 3 or greater. Pretty strong. Non-creature spells your opponent's cast cost 2 more to cast until your next turn. Okay, but that does nothing against a creature-based deck. Return target creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a 1/1 counter or a loyalty counter on it. This reminds me a lot of the Saga. It's a black one. It's 5 CMC, where you put it down and your opponent has to sacrifice a creature or a planeswalker, and then on the third part, and the second part they have to discard a card. The third part they get to bring something back from the dead on either graveyard and its creature or planeswalker. This seems to me objectively worse. Not by much, but still. I'm going to say 3 out of 5. A solid 3 out of 5, you know. It'll see play in some decks. Elspeth Sun's Nemesis, 4 CMC for our first mythic. Comes in with 5 loyalty. So she only has minus abilities. Look at this. Up to 2 target creatures you control each get +2/+1 until end of turn. Create 2 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens for a -2, and -3 you gain 5 life. So that seems absolutely awful for the -3. The -2 that you get to do twice, you know, if you have a bunch of wide weenie aggro and you're just -1ing, the +2/+1 can definitely get some mileage over time. But the thing about Elspeth here that we really got to pay attention to, I guess, is the escape. So you get to technically cast her over and over again. But you have to exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. So the cost is massive. But once again, if you kind of get later into the match with a white weenies deck and you're running out of juice, Elspeth comes in, puts some more weenies down, or buffs up your weenies. So once again, in those certain decks, it will see play, but not outside of there very much. 3 out of 5. Favored of Iroas, 3 CMC for a 2/2 creature. Constellation. So enchantment enters the battlefield. Favored gets double strike until end of turn. This seems so conditional. I mean, he has to survive. He only has 2 health. You gotta have an enchantment enter the battlefield. 2 out of 5, and barely that. Flicker of Fate, 2 CMC instant, exile target creature or enchantment, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. This seems interesting. It's like Charming Prince, except at instant speed, and it can be also an enchantment instead of just a creature. So basically, it can save something of yours at instant speed, plus it can bring it back at full health or whatever. Say, for example, it's a planeswalker you used. You did some minuses. Now, why did I say planeswalker? No. Say, for example, it's a creature you've used with, I don't know. There's probably certain enchantments this synergizes with very well that we haven't really seen yet. But it's also important to note things like sagas are enchantments, so you can get the first 1-2 triggers, flicker it, then for free basically you get the 1-2 again before it finally goes to 3 and closes it out. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, this will get play in some of those decks. 3 out of 5. Glory Bears. 4 CMC for a 3/4. Oof. Enchantment creature. Whenever another creature you control attacks, it gets +0/+1 until end of turn. That's terrible. 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5. Heliod Suncrown. 3 CMC for a mythic. This is our first enchantment creature god. Whew. That's a mouthful. 5/5 with indestructible. So, as long as your devotion to white is less than 5, Helio isn't a creature. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control. 1 in a white, another target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. Okay. He's absolutely powerful, but he does nothing as far as being a creature for you until he's a 5/5. But his passive is online from the time he hits the board. So if you're gaining life at all, you're getting a 1/1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control. A lot of the creatures are enchantments in this set. I don't know how you would otherwise put a 1/1 counter on an enchantment. Otherwise, just a vanilla enchantment. And then 1 and a white, target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. So this synergizes with itself in that it can give something the lifelink, then also 1/1 it. So essentially, you're giving something lifelink, and then at the end of the turn, 1/1 counter. Very strong for just a white, 1 and a white. And devotion is less than 5. So technically it's saying less than 4 because it's 1 in the cost by itself, 1 of the white. So if you think about it, he's a 3 CMC. Maybe you're playing some sort of lower-ish to the ground deck and you have 1 or 2 white devotion cards out by the time he comes out, or some random enchantment or something. So really you're just going to have to find probably 2 to 3 more white devotion to get him online, and an indestructible 5/5 that can pump itself up and do lifelink. Super strong. I don't know if this is meta breaking, game breaking, but he's absolutely strong. 4 out of 5. Heliod's Intervention. X white white. Instant. Rare. Destroy X target artifacts and or enchantments. Target player gains twice X life. There's a lot of artifacts and enchantments that is in standard these days that we hate, and we know more enchantments are coming in with all of this Theros enchantment based set. Essentially, this is absolutely very, very powerful, but the problem is the cost. So even if you want to destroy 1 artifact or enchantment, that's costing you 4 CMC minimum, because it's white. What? Wait, 3 CMC minimum. Sorry, that's pretty costly. Think of like Return to Nature, right? Return to Nature, 1 and a green, instant, destroy artifact, destroy enchantment, or exile card, or is it creature, from a graveyard. So just for the cost of 2, it can do any of those 3. The thing is, Heliod's Intervention has a higher ceiling, but I don't know if that necessarily makes it better. If you're going up against Jund Food or Sacrifice, for example, yeah, they're going to go all crazy on the artifacts and enchantments, and you would love to have this in your deck. But kind of only in those situations. But target player gains twice X life. Think about if you pay 2 with X. So it's 4 CMC to gain 4. I don't know. I think this will, if the meta shifts in a certain way, which it could with all these enchantments, it'll be stronger. But for now, I'm going to say 3 out of 5 because it's very conditional to white-based decks. Heliod's Pilgrim. 3 CMC for a 1/2 creature. When the Pilgrim enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an aura card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. This actually isn't too bad, especially in Limited. But for 1/2 body, not that great, but 3 CMC to tutor for a specific aura that you want, that can be powerful. So constructed 2 out of 5, limited is going to be a little bit better, assuming you have a good aura that you want. Heliod's Punishment. Man, Heliod's all over. 2 CMC, enchantment aura. So I'm curious about these auras. I want to see a really good one. Uncommon, enchant creature. The punishment enters the battlefield with 4 task counters on it. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. It loses all abilities and has remove a task counter. Okay. So basically what this is saying is 2 CMC to lock down a creature. Can't attack or block. But after 4 turns of tapping, it's destroyed. But 4 turns is forever. So that's actually pretty strong. But, I mean, there's other cards like what? Frogify and stuff like that, I think, are 2 CMC to lock down a creature basically forever, or to neuter it to whatever 0/1, cards like that. So it's a strong effect. In Limited, I think it's going to be amazing. But in Constructed, I think there's just much stronger options overall. 2 out of 5. Hero of the Pride. 2 CMC for a 2/2 creature. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Hero of the Pride, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. This is strong. This is really strong. White weenies. This could be part of an inclusion in a constructed format. Even you need to have the buff spells and you need to have the weenies to go wide. But it's all creatures, including itself. So for a 2 CMC 3/2, that's already pretty strong. Not to mention it goes to all of your creatures. So, 3 out of 5. Hero of the Winds, 4 CMC for a 1/4 flyer. Creature, whenever you cast a spell that targets Hero of the Winds, creatures you control get +1/+0 to. It's the same thing as Hero of the Prides. It just costs 2 more, and it's a flyer with a 1/4 body. This could be good. Something like Azorius Flyers, for example. You target this. You have your evasive threats going in with stronger attacks. What is that spirit with the adventure side where you give a creature +2/+1 in flying? That would be strong to synergize with Hero of the Winds. So, score, same as Hero of the Pride, I guess, 3 out of 5. Will be strong in those decks, quite possibly. Idyllic Tutor, 3 CMC for a sorcery rare. Search your library for enchantment and put it to your hand. That seems slow and weak overall. I don't really like it. It's too costly, too slow. 2 out of 5. It'll be good in some decks to find that one enchantment. Indomitable Will, 2 CMC enchantment aura flash. Okay, our first one with flash. Enchanted creature gets +1/+2. This is good. This is good. You can trade up quite well with this and surprise your opponent. Yeah. +1 isn't much, but the +2 gives it a little bit more reach than normally it would have. So 3 out of 5. Karametra's Blessing, 1, just a white. Instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it's an enchanted creature or enchantment creature, it also gains hexproof and indestructible. Whoa. And here I thought Indomitable Will was good. Look at this. This is amazing. What did I say this was? 3 out of 5? This is a 4 out of 5. Easy. Very easy. Not to mention, a lot of the creatures nowadays in this set coming up are going to be enchantments. So, hexproof, indestructible, +2/+2. Whew. That's quite potent. Laguna Band Storyteller, 4 CMC for a 3/4. When Laguna Band enters the battlefield, you may put target enchantment creature target enchantment card from your graveyard on top of your library. If you do, you gain life equal to its converted mana cost. So, how is this so much better, basically? Look, Idyllic Tutor is a 3 to put it in your hand. This is a 4, but you also get a 3/4 body. It doesn't go in your hand, it goes on top of your library, but you also gain life equal to its converted mana cost. But I think I said this was like a 2. This is definitely a 3 out of 5. Like, this is stronger synergy, because a lot of the enchantments are auras, for example. So you gotta have a creature on the board, and this is your creature on the board. So this is much better in my opinion. Leonin of the Lost Pride, 2 CMC for a creature cat warrior, 3/1. When Leonin dies, exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. Well, he won't have too much trouble dying. He has 1 toughness. And I mean, if it's early in the match, since he's only 2 CMC, you're not exiling anything of value anyway, so you lose all your value here. The 3 is nice, the 3 power. He'll go in certain low to the ground decks, I think, especially with Escape being a new mechanic that may run rampant with people trying to pull stuff back from the grave. But like I said, if he gets out early, it's not going to have any effect. 2 out of 5. Nyxborn Courser, 3 CMC for a 2/4 vanilla. Not even good in limited, honestly. That stat line's pretty crap. 1 out of 5. Omen of the Sun, 3 CMC. Enchantment with Flash. When Omen enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white human soldier tokens and you gain 2 life. Not too bad. So Flash is basically something at instant speed. And there's that card, I forget what it's called, but it's 1 and a white to create 2 1/1 white human soldiers. So this already has a little bit more of an upside for a little bit more of a cost, the 2 life. But it also has the benefit of you being able to use it later on in the match with the 2 and a white to sacrifice for Scry 2. It'll be more powerful and limited than constructed, I think. So 2 out of 5. Phalanx Tactics, 1 and a white. Instant. Target creature you control gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Each other creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This is a white weenies card. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I feel like there are other cards for a similar cost, if not one more, that give like +2 to all of your creatures. And so, like, you have to wonder if this is better because only one creature getting a +2 and the rest getting +1. I don't know. 2 out of 5. Pious Wayfarer, just for the cost of a white. 1/2 creature with Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So I can't be too hard on this because it's just a 1 CMC card, but that's still a weak effect and very conditional. That's a 2 out of 5, barely. Revenant Hoplite, 4 and a white. So 1/2 creature. Oof. When Revenant Hoplite enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 white tokens equal to your devotion to white. Why couldn't they at least have put 1 more white in the cost for this? Because by itself in a vacuum, you're getting a 5 CMC 2/3. That's terrible. If you're in limited and you're mono white, it'll be pretty decent, I think, because with how wide you'll be. But, constructed, we're definitely going to say a 1 out of 5. Revoke Existence, 2 CMC sorcery, exile target artifact or enchantment. Once again, I don't like to compare different colors to different colors, but think of Return to Nature. It's 1 and a green for an instant that basically does this. I don't know. The exile is stronger than destroy, absolutely, especially with the escape mechanic. It'll see some plays. It'll be a sideboard card, I'm pretty sure, in some white decks. 3 out of 5, barely. Rumbling Sentry, 5 CMC for a 3/6. Okay, it's a giant. When Rumbling Sentry enters the battlefield, scry 1. In limited, it'll see some play. In constructed, that stat line is just not good enough for the cost. 1 out of 5. Sentinel's Eyes. It's a white. Okay, so yeah, that's a pretty spooky eyes. Not to mention, yeah, Revoke Existence. I haven't commented on the art much thus far, but that's really cool looking, and that's really creepy looking, but I like it. So, Enchantment Aura, enchanted creature gets 1/1 and Vigilance. So, okay. Yeah, okay. Escape for a white. This is actually stronger than it looks, I think, guys, especially in limited. But giving a creature 1/1 in and of itself isn't bad for 1 CMC. It gives it that much more reach against whatever you're facing. But the vigilance also means you can also stand your ground, and the escape cost is pretty cheap. 2 other cards from your graveyard. So if you think about it, this is probably going to be, once again, in some sort of a white weenie-ish deck. Your opponent's going to be trying to kill your cards left and right. So you're going to have cards in your graveyard to exile. And just for the cost of 1 white to get it down and 1 white to bring it back, the vigilance doesn't have as much importance there in the white weenies, but the 1/1 definitely does. The vigilance doesn't hurt if you have like a planeswalker that you're trying to protect that's buffing you up too, like a Gideon. So 3 out of 5. Shatter the Sky. I saw this yesterday, I think, revealed. Yeah, I'll have some stuff to say about it. 4 CMC, rare, sorcery with 2 white in the cost. Each player who controls a creature with power 4 or greater draws a card, then destroy all creatures. So, it's a wrath effect for 4. Okay, cool, but Kaya's Wrath exists. Right, but that also requires 2 black. So this can be in mono white, or it can be in probably a lot of other decks because it doesn't require that very key 2 white, 2 black. So it sounds like I'm already like saying this is really awesome, but think about it. If you're trying to wraith a board, sometimes it's aggro-y stuff, but other times it's going to be against a big creature. 1 or 2 big creatures, or 1 big creature with a couple other small ones. So that means you're killing everything and letting your opponent draw a card. One fun thing to notice though, I heard someone bring it up and it's an excellent point. Think about Gideon. What's his name? I don't know. But the Gideon Planeswalker 3 CMC, who is a creature card, 4/4 with indestructible, and when he +1s, he gives another creature the option of indestructible. So you're swinging in with 2 creatures on your turn, and they can't die, so it doesn't matter if they get blocked or not. Maybe you get a little bit of damage in. You drop this down, and you're at least guaranteed those 2 creatures still left on the board, and you're drawing a card because of the power 4 or greater. That seems insane. But the problem is, if you think about it, what deck would that be, right? What deck would that be that you're playing Gideon and you're having another, I don't know. This is strong. It's a 4 out of 5 for sure, but you have to play around it yourself. Not just your opponent has to play around it, because giving your opponent a card is very powerful. Think of how strong we thought Assassin's Trophy was. And it is strong. It's insanely strong. But does it see near as much play as we thought it was? No, because it gives your opponent a card, and not only that, it puts it on the battlefield untapped. But this is kind of similar. But definitely a 4 out of 5. Yeah, it's solid. And there's going to be certain decks that really go all in trying to make the maximum benefit out of this, aka have the board wipe for being a board wipe, but also having a power 4 or greater toughness creature on the board. So even if your opponent has one too, it's net neutral. Sunmane Pegasus, 4 CMC for a 2/3. Flying, yeah, no. The Vigilance, Lifelink, no. This is 1 out of 5. In limited, it'll see a little play because it's a 2/3 with Vigilance and Lifelink, potentially. But otherwise, I don't even think in a Azorius Flyers or a Weenie Flyers deck will this see play. It's far too costly for a low stat line. Taranika, a Crowan veteran, 3 CMC for a rare 3/3 legendary. Is this our first legendary besides the god and the Planeswalker? Legendary creature soldier. Vigilance. Whenever blah blah attacks, untap another target creature you control. Until the end of turn, that creature has base power and toughness 4/4 and gains indestructible. So I don't understand the untap part of it really, because if you're attacking, generally your stuff has also untapped as well. I mean, maybe it's just guaranteeing it can untap, like if you're up against a Gadwick or something and it's been tapped out. Huh. But no, so whenever it attacks, so even if something was tapped out, the attack step's already happening. So your tapped creature is not attacking, but it has base power and toughness 4/4 and gains indestructible, I think. That's kind of interesting on the mechanics of how that would work precisely. Whenever blah blah attacks, untap another creature. Because if you're saying you're attacking, that means the attack steps... It's not saying like when they declare attacks, so I don't know. I think the base power and toughness is something worth considering also when we talk about Shatter the Sky, because now you have something that's a guaranteed 4/4 and indestructible. So the Taranika would die, but your Shatter would kill everything but whatever he declared indestructible. Yeah, and he can't target himself, so, or she or whatever. 3 out of 5. I might not be thinking of something. It's a strong stat line, 3/3 with vigilance. That's not too bad. And to be able to say something else is a 4/4. So maybe I've been looking at this slightly wrong. Generally, you don't have something tapped, right? So ignore that part of it. But whatever it is next to Taranika becomes a 4/4. That's awesome and indestructible. So you can have a White Weenies deck or something like that, and whatever is next to Taranika, you just say, okay, now he's a 4/4. So it's a pretty big buff if you think about it. If you curve into Taranika and you start with something like, say, I'm just going to say Boros, and you have a Fervent Champion. I'm just thinking of something. But instead of being a 1/1, all of a sudden it's a 4/4 with First Strike. Whoa! Still a solid 3 out of 5, but almost a 4. Transcendent Envoy, 2 CMC for enchantment creature, flying 1/2. Aura spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Okay, so now we're getting into the point where we're starting to filter through the list, and we're seeing some of the pieces come together on what sort of combinations that we're going to try and have. The aura spells so far, it's not going to affect this one at all, obviously. This one, so this Indomitable Will become just a cost of 1 white for a flash 1/2. Not bad. Yeah, that's okay, fine. But so yeah, basically, he's going to synergize well with certain decks. And for the cost of 2 CMC, that's not too bad. I think in Limited, he won't be that good unless you get a bunch of auras. But in Constructed, he's going to probably synergize pretty well with certain decks, aura decks. 3 out of 5. Triumphant Surge. 4 CMC for an instant to destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. You gain 3 life. No. In Limited, maybe. But even then, 3 damage creatures deal, quite a chunk over time. Constructed, 1 out of 5. There's better. You're better off exiling things, Prison Realm or whatever else that we showed you. Yep. Nope. Not good. Blue. Ooh, I'm excited. We made it through the white. Illyrios Enraptured. 3 CMC for a legendary creature, human, 2/3. He enters tapped. I like the flavor on this. It makes sense because he's looking at himself. He's just like stunned. Illyrios doesn't untap during your untap step if you control a reflection. When Illyrios enters the battlefield, create a 3/2 blue reflection creature token. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this when the Theros spoilers were initially released. The flavor is on point with this card. So he's a 2/3, comes in tapped. That creates a token of itself 3/2. So it's, inverse. And the 3/2 gets to attack until he dies. Then your 2/3 comes back. That's powerful, guys. Think about it. That's a 5/5 total stats for 3 CMC. That's your Lovestruck Beast without the whole 1/1 declaration. I don't know. I'm not going to go as far as to say it's better than Lovestruck Beast. Heck no, but it's pretty good, especially in Limited if you think about it. So, all that being said, he's a 2 out of 5. Ashiok's Eraser, 4 CMC. A rare with flash. When Ashiok's Erasure enters the battlefield, exile target spell. Ooh. Your opponent can't cast spells with the same name as the exiled card. Ooh. When Ashiok's Erasure leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to its owner's hand. So basically, it's a counter or it's a removal. But that's cool that it's flexible like that. Because you're exiling a spell. And basically anything that's not a land is a spell. So, and with the flash makes it an instance. So, yeah. You can counter something, you can exile something, and then it also prevents them from casting that spell for the rest of the match as long as that's on the battlefield. The problem becomes if this enchantment goes away, then they get it back. But you're kind of going one for one at that point, you know? You're using this to counter a card. Say it fizzles, goes to the graveyard. Then they have to use a card to get rid of your enchantment. And then they get their card back. So it all depends on what the meta eventually kind of settles in. If there's a lot of enchantment type removal, which I kind of think there obviously is in a set like this coming out, it's going to be a little bit weaker than it looks on paper. But in certain matchups where they don't have that sort of hate, this is insane. I mean, it's costly, but you're shutting a card down and then any further instances of it. Think what's that card where you name a card? I just played it the other day. Anyways, the one where you name a card, Unmoored Ego. Boom. Unmoored Ego is a 3 CMC. Granted, it's a blue and a black in the cost, but it's not at instant speed, and it only gets stuff in hand or graveyard. Anything on the board, it won't affect. This obviously affects something that's trying to get on the board, is already on the board, and at instant speed. So Unmoored Ego, as we know, is a pretty powerful sideboard card. It's good against certain types of hate. And yeah, this will see about the same amount of play because of its pros on top of Unmoored Ego, but with the cons of it being able to be removed. 3 out of 5. Brine Giant, 6 and a blue. Wow, for a 5/6. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each enchantment you control. I mean, if you know, let's be generous and say you have 3 enchantments out. 4 CMC for a 5/6. Not terrible, but he's a vanilla creature. No trample, no haste, no reach, no flying, no vigilance. He's just a big dumb creature. 2 out of 5 limited. I mean, if you draft properly for him, he'll be really strong and limited. Caliphate, Beloved of the Sun, 3 CMC for a star 3. Legendary enchantment creature, demigod. Caliphate's power is equal to your devotion to blue. So she comes in as a 2/3. Creatures and enchantments you control have spells your opponents cast that target this permanent cost 1 more to cast. Huh. So it's not quite hexproof, but it makes it rougher on your opponents for relatively low cost. What is that white 2 CMC guy, is it? Is it Mana Taker, Mana Tithe, Tithe Taker, Tithe Maker? That creature card that makes all spells on your turn cost 1 more. I think it's just a 2 CMC. And he sees some play. So I think Caliphate will see about the same amount. I'm thinking about like a mono blue deck though. I think of like the Tempest Djinn or whatever you call it. What was that flying Djinn in mono blue before rotation? He comes in as a 0/4 or an X4, where X is however many islands you have down. But he had flying. This chick doesn't, with just 3 toughness. So 2 out of 5. Chain 2 Memory for just the cost of a blue instant. Target creature gets -4/-0 until end of turn, scry 2. So People will play, what's that called? Wishing Well, Witching Well, something well. That one, the cost of a blue enchantment, I think it is. That comes down and lets you scry 2. And this is an instant, and it makes a creature -4, -0. That's strong, but obviously not in every deck. In limited, it seems really good because for the cost, the scry alone is amazing. Not to mention you can get a real good trade in. But in constructed, 2 out of 5, but it's better than that Wishing Well, Witching Well that I'm trying to think of. Deny the Divine, 3 CMC instant. Man, that art though. Counter target creature or enchantment spell. If that spell, blah, 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 exile it. Okay. This isn't, okay. So this counter only can hit 2 things. Creatures, enchantments. Not artifacts, not planeswalkers, not other non-creature spells. Like instants or sorceries counters. But the exiling is important to note. You know, it may be sideboarded in certain decks. In limited, seems really good. But in constructed, I think the other counters out there offer so much more. They're usually just plain counters to either non-creatures or anything. For usually 3 CMC, and this is only 2 creatures or enchantments. The exile is interesting once again because of the whole meta we might find ourselves in with escape. So because of it being somewhat, it's definitely strong and limited. Probably going to be a little bit stronger because of the meta, and it's going to be popular in sideboards for specifically those type of decks. I think I'm going to give it about a 3 out of 5, just barely. Eidolon of Philosophy. The cost of a blue for a 1/2. 6 in a blue. Sacrifice it to draw 3 cards. This is more powerful, I think, than it looks, especially in limited. So a 1/2 for a blue. That's already decent, right? But the upswing is massive. Yeah, you won't ever get a turn where you're having more than 7 mana, but if you have 7 mana, drawing 3 cards is super powerful. Yeah. But you also have to have this card alive, so yeah. Limited, this is very powerful in blue. Not that you usually get to 7 mana anyways, in general, but I don't know. The meta might be slow now. Slower a little bit. 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. Elite Instructor, 3 CMC for a 2/2. When the instructor enters the battlefield, you draw a card, then discard a card. Okay, so if you're in a deck where you want to be discarding certain cards, this could be powerful. But I don't see that being the case generally in blue, and for the cost of 3 CMC is kind of expensive. You know, No, in limited, it's not too bad of a stat line for 3 to be able to kind of filter out a card. But constructed, 1 out of 5. Glimpse of Freedom, instant, 2 CMC, draw a card. Escape, 2 and a blue. Exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. Oh man, I think something like Opt is just better. Because not only you're drawing it instant for the cost of 1 less CMC, but you're also getting to scry. And if you think about the draw a card and eventually draw another card, it's almost better to say that you want to go ahead and just draw one now with the availability to scry that too. It's almost like drawing 2 cards because you're seeing kind of 2 cards. I limited, this is strong. It is strong. But in constructed, it's a 1 out of 5. So I don't know how to pronounce this. Ichthyomorphosis. 3 CMC for an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a blue fish with base power and toughness 0/1. So this is what I'm talking about, guys. Look at something like this. This totally neuters a card for 3 CMC. It technically it's on the board as a 0/1, so if it has some +1/+1 counters, whatever. But like, look up here real quick with me if I can find it real quick. This one, no, is it? Where'd it go? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Is it this? Is it this one? Is it that one? No, 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 no. It's the one where it makes you exile it to kill it. Where'd it go? Oh man. Yeah, here it is. Look. Look at this. This is 3 CMC. Can't attack or can't block. So technically the 0/1 froggy thing can block for 1 turn and then it's dead. But it still has passive abilities. And a 0/1 is nothing. You know, the only potential situation this would be better is if you have to shut something down to not block for lethal that turn. It's so bad compared to this, which isn't even saying that much. It's still 3 CMC to lock something down. It's not even get rid of it. This is 2 out of 5. In limited, it's good, but it's a 2 out of 5. Kiora Best, the Sea God. I think Tolarian Community College revealed this one. I didn't look at the card though yet. Create an 7 CMC for an 8/8 blue Kraken with hexproof. That's strong. Tap all non-land permanents target opponent controls. They don't untap during their next. So that's just for 1 turn, okay. Gain control of target permanent. Wow. This is insanely powerful, but for a 7 CMC, this should be what you're wanting to see at power level. Now look at this. This is 7 CMC for a 5/6 vanilla. Yeah, you can cast them for like 3 if you're lucky. This is very powerful. 4 out of 5. It just is. It's going to go in certain decks maybe as a 1 or 2 of. But yeah, if that gets on the board quickly, if it doesn't get board wiped because of the hexproof, not to mention you're tapping everyone else so you can smash on through with it. Not to mention if this is still alive, you're stealing an opponent's permanent. This is an agent of treachery on a much better stick with the whole untap benefit as well. It's amazing. It's amazing. 4 out of 5. Yep. Metamize Prophecy, 2 CMC. Scry 2, already not too bad. Choose a card name. Okay, then what? When you cast a spell with the chosen name for the first time this turn, draw 2 cards. Oh my gosh. And you get to look at the top of each player's line. Oh my gosh. Limited, this is busted. Constructed, this is good. This might go in a lot of control decks. Much like Kiora, Best the Sea God, might go in a lot of control decks. This is going to too. This is a 4 out of 5. It's a very good card. Yeah, that's amazing. Draw 2 cards. Scry 2. And look, oh, whew. Memory Drain. Instant for a 4 cost counter spell with Scry 2. I'm thinking something like Ashiok's Eraser is better. What did I give Ashiok? 3 out of 5? 4 out of 5? This is going to be a 2 out of 5. It's good and limited too. It's good and limited for sure. Nadir Kraken. Love that art. 3 CMC for a Kraken creature, 2/3. Whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on Nadir Kraken and create. Whoa! Okay, first of all, limited, this is busted. Constructed though, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's going to get big and it's going to get wide. And it's going to have synergy with decks where there's the total number of creatures on your board somehow. I don't see it right now, but it's going to. Because it's going to go wide. If they don't kill it right away, it's going very wide and it's getting big. 4 out of 5. That's a strong card. Naiad of Hidden Coves. 3 CMC for an enchantment creature 2/3. As long as it's not your turn, spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Oh no, stop it. Stop it. We already hate enough of this Simic Flash crap. Please don't do this to us. I don't know if this is necessarily strong enough to fit into that deck because they just want counters and then threats. This just makes it all cheaper. But it's powerful. Oh my gosh. You know, is it Flash, Simic Flash? Just stop it, Wizards, please. Don't make that deck any stronger. Let's say 3 out of 5. You know, I don't want it to be any stronger than that. Nyxborn Sea Guard. I almost said Sea God. 2/5 for a 4 CMC. He's definitely not a god. No, he's bad. 1 out of 5. Omen of the Sea. 2 CMC enchantment with flash. Okay, these are cool. Love the art. This whole Omen cycle. When Omen of the Sea enters the battlefield, scry 2 and draw a card. Sacrifice the Omen to scry 2. This is powerful. This is powerful. It could definitely be a 1 or 2 of in certain control decks and limited. Powerful. That's 3 out of 5. That's a good one. One with the Stars. 4 CMC enchantment aura enchanted permanent is an enchantment and loses all other card types. Still has its abilities, but it's no longer a creature. So if you put this on a Planeswalker, it loses its types, and it still has its abilities, though. So a Planeswalker abilities, those are loyalty abilities, right? It would still have its loyalty counters and all that stuff. So I don't think it would affect a Planeswalker, unless I'm wrong. But creatures... So this shuts down a creature, kind of, and it makes an enchantment. So this is probably going to go into some weird jank deck and make something work. Something, an enchantment that wasn't before, that's going to make it powerful or busted. But only when the stars align. So 1 out of 5. And, you know, it'll be good in that jank when you hit it the 1 out of 10 times you manage to get it working. Protean Thaumaturge. 2 CMC rare 1/1 creature. Constellation. Whenever enchantment you may have become a copy of another target creature except it has this ability. Ooh. Ooh, wow. That's so cool. What is that 2 CMC creature? Black and a blue. Mythic. I think it's a mythic or a rare. Lavina. Lazev. This is kind of like that. Except it has to be something on the board. But it could be an opponent's creature. Wow. That's strong. I mean, it's conditional, but it is strong. 3 out of 5. That's pretty cool. Riptide Turtle. Woohoo! God, he just looks like he's having a day. He's like swimming past the ship that, you know, he probably just laid his eggs or whatever, or she. And he's just like, man, I'm out of here. I got to get some food. I'm hungry. 2 CMC for a 0/5. I thought it said Flying Defender. Flash Defender. What? Oh, it's a 1 out of 5. Sage of Mysteries. I don't know. Is he a 1 out of 5? He's got Flash. The Flash Defender, I mean, you know, you don't want a Flash Defender, though, do you? Plus, why has he got Flash? He's a freaking turtle. As the storm waves crushed my sailors, I cried out to Thassa. The next time I saw them, hard shells encased them, and they swam away to safety. So yeah, he's a defender, dude. The flavor's on point, according to this, I guess. My nose itches. But no, man, no. No, just no. Sage of Mysteries, a blue. Constellation for a 0/2. Enchantment enters the battlefield. Target player puts the top 2 cards. No, that is so bad. You can't do that. No, that is too slow, too weak, too worthless. 1 out of 5. Don't. See God Scorn. 6 CMC. I'm curious. Return up to 3 target creatures and or enchantments to their owner's hands. If you're playing Super Control, maybe one of, but this is bad. This is slow. You're using your whole turn just to get some things back. I don't know. It might be a 1 or 2 of in very control heavy decks. But think about it. The things that you're getting back, if you're up to 6 CMC, what powerful things have already gone and died? 3 of them that are worth getting back that late in the game. I don't know. And it's only creatures and enchantments, not artifacts, not planeswalkers. This is a 2 out of 5 at best. Shimmerwing Chimera, 4 CMC for a 3/2 flying enchantment creature. Wow, that's so cool. The colors. At the beginning of your upkeep, return up to 1 target. Oh, now we're talking. A constant generator value. The toughness is the main downside here, just 2. But with flying also, he's dealing some damage, right? He could. Think about like wait. No. This is return up to 1 other target enchantment you control. This isn't saying from your graveyard. No. This is only like if something got stolen, right? If something got stole and you get it back. No, this is terrible. 1 out of 5. Shoal Kraken, 4 and a blue. Ooh. So cool. It looks like Godzilla or something. I don't know. I can't tell. 5 CMC for a 3/5. Constellation, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Limited, if you build your deck a certain way, it'll be okay. Pretty decent. Constructed, no. No. Too weak. Sleep of the Dead. Ooh, it's the Cerberus. Cool, man. Cerberus, a blue card Cerberus though. So what does it do? Yeah, it taps the creature. Doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So it's a sorcery, meaning you probably tap something before the attack phase and then also benefit the next turn. It also doesn't untap. And escape for the cost of 3 with 3 other cards. This is kind of powerful. Think of like Unsummon. Unsummon is the cost of a blue to bounce a creature back. This is about as effective as that, for the same cost. I think Unsummon was an instant. This is a sorcery, so that's kind of weaker, but you have the escape clause to cast it again. Limited, more powerful than Constructed, I think. 2 out of 5 in Constructed. Starlight Mantle, 2 CMC, Enchantment Aura, Flash. Enchant creature you control. When she enters the battlefield, enchanted creature gains hexproof until end of turn. With Flash. Wow. And enchanted creature gets +1/+1. So, what was that card that we played? Dive Down. Alright, but okay. Dive Down was the cost of just a blue, if I remember correct. It was an instant, much like this is a flash. And that gave +0, +3. I don't think this is as strong as Dive Down is. And it's more costly. Limited, this is strong. Constructed, 1 out of 5. But since we don't have dive down, it might be used in that situation for standard. 2 out of 5. Stern Dismissal. For the cost of a blue, instant return target creature or enchantment an opponent controls to its owner's hand. This is interesting. Isn't this unsummon, but better? Unsummon, isn't that only for creatures? And I forget if unsummon is just for your opponents or for yourself, because that's useful if it is. I don't know. This is strong, though, because it's also enchantment. Think about if someone plays, I'm just throwing this out there, Doom Foretold, 4 CMC. Oh, you booped it back for 1. He just blew 4. And then he has to spend 4 again, and it still doesn't trigger. That's strong. This is strong. Limited, very strong. And in constructed, it might be a 3 out of 5. Yeah. Stinging Lionfish, 2 CMC, enchantment creature fish, 2/1. Whenever you cast first spell during each opponent's turn, you may tap or untap target non-land permanent. This makes me think of like Simic Flash stuff, but I don't see it fitting in there. It's not that valuable. This could be useful in limited, slowing them down quite a bit. In constructed, it's a decent effect, but I don't think it's powerful enough. 1 out of 5. Sweet Oblivion, 2 CMC sorcery. Target player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. So it could be you, it could be them, and you can escape it to exile 4 other cards. So by itself, basically, I think what it's trying to do is for your opponent, milling them out, total of 8 from that 1 card alone. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be good in mill decks, I think. Yeah. I'm going to say 3 out of 5 because I think it's going to be that strong in mill decks. Thassa Steep Dwelling, 4 CMC. We got our mythic legendary enchantment creature. God, man. I can't tell if she's huge or it's just zoomed in. But she look huge. 6/5. Ooh, indestructible. Yeah. As long as your devotion to blue is less than 5, Thassa is a creature. So 5, just like the Heliod, but he was a 3 CMC. This is a 4. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 other target creature you control. Then return that card to the battlefield under your control. Oh. Oh. Oh my gosh. This is like Charming Prince. This is Flicker every turn. Wow. And for 4 CMC, indestructible. This is busted. But most of the enter the battlefield trigger stuff that's been good in standard has been in black. So that's Dimir, baby. That's Dimir. Ooh, I've been missing Dimir. And we're going to get the temples. This is going to be good. It doesn't even matter about the 6/5 really. That's not the point of this card. If you get to attack, great. And the later this game goes, 3 and a blue to tap another target creature. Say you get up to the point you have 8 mana. Whoop, doop, doop. Every turn. Doop, doop. Just tapped. Smash on through with your 6/5. Oh my gosh. This is going to be your 1 or 2 of in a lot of control-based decks. Not to mention, I think Dimir with the enter the battlefield black triggers. The rat that discards a card for 2 CMC. Yurok's Fen Lurker. What else? Doesn't even matter. Those 2 alone are just amazing. There's going to be plenty of options for her. She's the first one that I think I'm going to say 5 out of 5. Not the best in the world, but The best I've seen so far in this set. Thassa's Intervention. X blue blue. Instant. Rare. Choose one. Look at the top X cards of your library. Put up to 2 of them in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Counter target spell unless its controller pays twice X? What? No. This is bad. This is really bad. It's only good very, very late in the game. Think about Drawn from Dreams. 4 CMC. Sorcery, but whatever. 4 CMC to look at 7 and draw 2. Two of them that you pick. Not to mention this counter spell. If you cast it for 3, which is kind of the upper limit of what you want to be countering for, it just means they have to pay 2. That's Quench. You might as well pay Quench. This is only good late in the game. Its only redeeming grace in any way is that it's an instant, but obviously it has to be for the counter clause. But even then, no. Even in limited, this far too slow. No. This is a 1 out of 5. Thassa's Oracle. Blue. 1/3 creature. When Thassa's Oracle enters the battlefield, look at all this text. It's a rare, that makes sense. When Thassa's Oracle enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library where X is your devotion of blue. I already like this guy better than the Thassa's Intervention. Put up to 1 of them on the top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. This is so weird. What a weird card. But I like it. So I don't like it for the last sentence, Sure, it'll go in some weird jank deck for that clause alone, but that doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that it comes down as a 1/3, and you get to look at the top 2 cards of your library at the very minimum. If you have any other blue devotion on the board, you're looking even deeper. And you get to effectively scry. Yeah, right? Yeah, scry. Yeah. This is a strong card. 3 out of 5. Solid 3 out of 5. Thirst for meaning. Why are these merfolk thirsty? I don't get it. They live in water. 3 CMC instant, draw 3 cards. What? Then discard 2 unless you draw a card, an enchantment card. Ooh. So, this is a strong card. It's only going to go in decks with enchantments, obviously, and it's going to be insane in those decks. Yeah, it is. And, you don't even have to have an enchantment card on the board to get value out of this. Not saying it's good value, but you can still play it without an enchantment. So in limited and constructed, this is going to be strong in decks that have enchantments. This is a 4 out of 5. Yep. Threnodies. My lights just flickered. It's raining outside. I'm scared. Threnody Singer, 2 CMC, creature flash flying, 1 and 3. When Singer enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -X until end of turn where X is blue. Okay, I'm not saying this is a good card, but it's not bad either. It's not bad. I don't think it synergizes very well with a lot of things that blue tries to do. So I think in limited it'll be better than constructed by a long shot. So yeah. Constructed, it's a 1 out of 5, unfortunately. Thrix the Sudden Storm, 5 CMC, rare, 4/5, flash flying. Spells you cast with converted mana cost 5 or greater, cost 1 less to cast and can't be countered. Okay, it's a powerful effect, but is it good? Okay, so here's what I think, guys. you're going to play him at your opponent's end step for 5, right? So now it comes to your turn, and hopefully you play something, a land. So you're up to 6. And your mana cost 5, costs 1 less to cast. So you're casting something with 4 for 4 mana, and then you have 2 left over. And he's a 4/5 who flashed in with flying, so you're dealing 4 damage on the board. Okay. Yeah. I mean, once again, I'm getting more of Dimir vibes here. I'm thinking late game greedy stuff. Liliana, Dreadhorde General. Can't be countered, now costs 1 less. You know, I don't know. The problem is going up against, if you're worried about the whole counterpart, Rix himself could be countered. Like, your opponent generally is just waiting for you to play something to counter. So even if it's at their end step, yeah, they'll counter it, which kind of sucks for them because immediately you get to untap and then cast your big creature. But you've already blown your turn and their whole turn up until their end step, while they might have a Wolfpack Ambusher beating you down. Or a... Gosh, I can't think of it. What's that? 4 CMC Frilled Mystic. So you're getting beat down even with the 3/2. I mean, I think it's too slow. I think at 4 CMC this would have been busted. But for 5, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. 2 out of 5. Towering Wave Mystic. 2 CMC, 2/1, creature, merfolk, wizard. Whenever a Tower Wave Mystic deals damage, target player puts that many card from the top of their library into the graveyard. Obviously, it's kind of strong, but it's a 2/1. And you're going to be synergizing, hoping and praying a 2/1 gets through and deals damage to discard to mill your opponent out. I think you have high hopes, my friend. Limited, it might see a little bit of play. Like, it might be not too bad of a blue-based 2 CMC 2/1. Plus, it gets them closer to being out because you only have 40 cards in limited anyways, right? So, 1 out of 5. Triton Wave Rider. Beautiful. Reminds me of like Aztec Dancers or whatever. Look at that. So 4 CMC for a creature 3/3 Constellation. He gets flying until end of turn. Not good enough. No. 1 out of 5. Even in limited. I don't like it. Vexing Gull. 2 and a blue. Creature bird, flash flying, 2/2. Oh. Ah. May the skies be clear of gales and gulls. 1 out of 5. Wavebreak Hippocamp. 2 and a blue. Enchantment creature. Horse fish. My fiance would probably like to have that as a pet for some reason. I just feel that way. 2/2. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, draw a card. Whoa. Nay. That is super powerful. And I hate it because Simic Flash or something like that, right, guys? I hate it. 4 out of 5. Yuck. Get it out of here. Whirlwind Denial. 2 and a blue, instant. For each spell and ability your opponent controls, counter it unless its controller pays 4. Oh my. Yeah, I've heard things about this card. Indirectly, I think. Because each spell and ability your opponent controls. So that's even like, I think, putting a loyalty counter on a planeswalker and weird stuff like that because of the ability clause. Right? Or things like, I'm just thinking randomly, aren't those things on cards themselves where if they tap, that's an ability, or pay a cost, that's an ability? Like, what's his name? Kenrith, his ability to exile 2 cards from the graveyard. That's an ability, right? So all of that stuff would get countered unless its controller pays 4. For each spell and ability? Why does it say each? That's what I'm missing in this conversation. Because why wouldn't it just say a spell and ability? Or okay, I don't think the each matters unless I'm reading it wrong. But basically, any spell that's coming down or any ability that your opponent is trying to trigger. Counter it unless its controller pays 4. So we obviously have to compare this somewhat to Mystical Dispute. Mystical Dispute is counter spell unless opponent pays 3. So this seems stronger, but also Mystical Dispute can come down as just a blue against other blue cards. But this has so much more flexibility. This is strong, guys. But you also know that Mystical Dispute is mostly in sideboards, not in main boards. I think this is potentially going to see more main board than Mystical Dispute, but it'll mostly be a sideboard card. This is a strong, solid 3 out of 5. Witness of Tomorrows. 4 and a blue, enchantment creature, 3/4, flying, 3 and a blue, scry 1, not good. Limited, sure, with the flying and the 3/4 body, with the potential to scry if you need to or have to. But in constructed, 1 out of 5. Black, here we go, boys. We made it to black, and I need a sip of this real quick. I guess I didn't realize this was going to take like 5 hours to do. Please don't take 5 hours. All right, Agonizing Remorse. 1 in a black. Sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land from it or card from their graveyard. Exile. Whoa. Good golly, Miss Molly. So escape is the thing that we've been worried about because coming back from the graveyard, and this is just saying exile whatever you want. Their hand, their graveyard, for the cost of 2 at sorcery speed, and you lose a life. This is strong. I don't know if it's duress strong. I don't know if it's drill bit strong, but it's somewhere in that general vicinity. You know, if not a main board card, it will potentially be quite a common sideboard card in black. 4 out of 5. Ephemia the Cacophony. Legendary enchantment creature Harpy. Have we had any Harpies yet? That's pretty cool, though. I love seeing new tribes or underrepresented tribes. Like this satyr. Look at this dude. Like he's smoking 2 pipes. I think they're horns. So flying 2/1 for 2. Rare. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile an enchantment card from your graveyard. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it, guys. It's a 2 CMC, so theoretically you want to be playing it earlier in the match, right? But how are you going to have enchantment cards not only on the board but also off of the board, already in your graveyard? Are you discarding a ton of cards? How are you doing that? Are you milling yourself? I'm not buying it. And the upswing being just a 2/2 black zombie creature token, what do you hope to get 1 or 2 tops off before he dies? And he's going to die quick with 1 toughness. Nope. Aspect, 1 out of 5. Aspect of Lamprey, 3 in a black. My gosh, what is she eating? And by eating, I mean I think it's coming out of her. Never mind. Enchantment Aura. Enters the battlefield, target opponent discards 2 cards, and your dude has lifelink. This is powerful, but it does obviously require you to have a creature that you control on the board. You can't even like fake it out and put it on a weak opponent's card. So there's a lot of cards out there that I can't name right now that cost 4 CMC to have your opponent discard 2 cards, and you don't have to have a creature on the board. This has upswing in the fact that there's of course going to be enchantment synergy in some decks, not to mention with your creature having lifelink. I guess that's cool. Typically black decks, They deal damage to themselves, but they also try and heal some of it back with lifelink, and this could be one way to get that. So in limited especially, I think because generally you're going to be able to have some sort of random creature on the board, it's going to be pretty strong and limited. In constructed, 2 out of 5. Blight Breath, Catopolis, I don't know. 6 CMC for a 3/2. Wow. When he enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -X until end of turn where X is Josh in the black. So he enters as a 6 CMC 3/2 with a -2/2 targeted. You know, even if you're really wide, like this is still not as good as just having targeted removal or having a Liliana, dude. A Liliana. Have them just sacrifice 2. No, 1 out of 5. Constructed, 1 out of 5. Cling to dust, black, instant. All right, I'm interested. Exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, you gain 3 life. Otherwise, you draw a card. Busted. Already busted. Plus, I see that it's an escape card. Amazing. It's not a 5 out of 5. It's a 4 out of 5. But yeah. It's so cheap. You're gaining life, or you're drawing a card. And you get to do it all again later. It's 4 out of 5. It's really good. Really good. I think it's better in constructed than limited. 4 out of 5. Discordant Piper, 2 CMC for a 2/1. Creature Zombie Satyr. Woohoo! Look at this flavor of a Zombie Satyr. The death of the party. When Discordant Piper dies, create a 0/1 white goat creature token. I don't know, man. Okay, so this might have some synergy in a deck where you want to sacrifice things, but if you're thinking about it, things like Lazotep Reaver, why wouldn't you just play that where it puts 2 out immediately, right? Priest of Forgotten Gods is ready to roll. You get your 2 out, boom, boom. With him, you only have 1 at a time. Maybe some weird zombie jank deck, but then what about a goat deck, man? 1 out of 5, bad and constructed even. Drag to the Underworld, 2 and 2 blacks, so 4 CMC instant. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is your devotion to black. This is really good. Oh my gosh. So unfortunately, I'm reading this now like, you know, devotion apparently is the mana cost of permanents you control. So it doesn't count toward itself, obviously. You know, as maybe I got 1 or 2 cards up there a little bit wrong, but I don't think so because mostly we're just talking about permanents, obviously. But this is an instant. But if you put this in a mono black deck, this is your new awesome. Mono black, this is insane. Because you're going to have at least 1 or 2 out, right? You know, I say on average it's going to be a murder, which is 3 CMC to destroy target creature. But, you know, worse off, it's a little bit worse, but better, it could be a 2 CMC. So in mono black, this is a 4 out of 5. Otherwise, it's, you know, even in decks with multiple colors, I think it's still a solid 2 out of 5. Eat to extinction. Let me read this flavor because I'm curious here. Roxa devours what he may, not for sustenance or pleasure, but because it is his nature. He is unending hunger given form. I was hoping it'd say something about this dude's interesting mouth. They look like some sort of rocks anyways. And he's eating some poor bird creature, flyer dude. Harpy? I don't know. So 4 CMC instant. Exile target creature or planeswalker. Look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into your graveyard. Okay, so this is strong, but how strong? Think of Vraska's Contempt, right guys, before rotation. That was a 4 CMC with a double black in the cost to exile target creature or planeswalker, much like this, but you would gain 2 life. So this instead is a Surveil instead of the 2 life, and it's not quite as restrictive cost. This is going to be the new hotness in any deck with black. Removal, single target option. 4 out of 5. It's good. Very good. Elspeth's Nightmare. 2 and a black. Destroy target creature an opponent controls with power 2 or less. So sometimes that's completely going to whiff. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that hand. Sometimes that card. Sometimes that's going to completely whiff against creature-based decks. Not to mention they see it coming a turn in advance. So step number 3 though, exile target opponent's graveyard. Okay, so let me think about this here. This is going to be a powerful sideboard card because you know what decks it's going to be really good against. Let's talk about Jund Sacrifice, shall we? The first clause hits your Gilded Geese, your Paradise Druid if they happen to play those, Cauldron Familiar. Not that great, right? The second clause, you get to get rid of something of theirs like a Trail of Crumbs, Witch's Oven, Casualties of War. Okay, that's pretty powerful. And the third one, exile target opponent's graveyard. So you tucked away that Cauldron Familiar. Maybe they don't have the food, or maybe they don't have the Witch's Oven or something. And you get to exile their graveyard. So yeah, 3 out of 5 because this is going to be a powerful sideboard 1 or 2 of with decks with black. Enemy of Enlightenment. Enchantment creature, 6 CMC for a 5/5 flyer, gets -1/-1 for each card in your opponent's hands? Whoa, that's weird. I think that's too clunky, man. But in limited it'll be good. In limited it will be good because you kind of get to set the pace plus have a flyer on the board. I don't know. Limited, it's good. It's solid, I think. But in constructed, 1 out of 5. Erebos Bleak-Hearted. Here is our black god. I haven't seen this dude yet. 4 CMC for a 5/6. Indestructible. As long as your devotion to black is less than 5, Erebos isn't a creature. Whenever another creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. 1 in a black. Sacrifice another creature. Target creature gets -2/-1 until end of turn. Yeah, I think what we're seeing here is obviously that all of the god cards are very strong. So far, I think Heliod is the weakest. I've heard things about, Modern and Pioneer and stuff. He's broken, busted. In Standard, I think he's the weakest of the 3 we've seen so far. Erebos and the blue are very strong. I think the blue actually is still even stronger than this, but Erebos is still, I'm going to rate a 5 out of 5. Very strong. You put a couple cheap creatures down, right? You're leading up to your 4 CMC. You hit 4 with this guy. Board wipes don't matter. He stays on the board. Plus, you can pay 2 life as much as you want or as little as you want. Not to mention, if you have another creature on the board, at instant speed, you can pay 1 in a black to give another creature -2/-1 until end of turn. Just busted. Just busted. Yeah, we all better hope and pray we get our mythic rare wild card count up, guys. Yikes. Wow. I don't think these guys, they might be more. When you think of like a mythic wild card, it's generally not something you're putting 4 of it. Well, that's maybe false. Because of their low CMC cost, you're going to want to have them available on that low curve of 4. Since they're legendary, though, unlike things like Cavaliers, right? Cavalier Flames, Cavalier of Gales, Cavalier Thorns, those mythics, think right? Those aren't legendary. You can have multiple of those on the board. But Erebos, you know, all of these gods, you can only have one on the board, obviously. Am I wrong about the Cavaliers? I don't think so. I hope not. I don't think they're legendaries. Stuff like Spawn of Mayhem, he's a mythic. He's not a legendary. Erebos' Intervention. X and a black for an instant rare. Alright, don't let me down like the white one did. The blue one did, I mean. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. You gain X life. Exile up to twice X target cards from graveyards. Yeah, this is good. You know, 3 out of 5. And that art is absurdly good. That's just amazing. But yeah, this is better than the what was it? The white one that let me down or the blue? Which one let me down? Made me really sad. I think it was the blue one, right? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, come on. Here. Yeah, this one's terrible. And the big difference is that extra mana cost. Huge difference. Makes all the difference. All the difference. That's 3 out of 5. Final Death. 5 CMC. Exile target creature. Limited. Amazing. Constructed. Nah. 2 out of 5. Fruit of Theros. Just the black for sorcery. Target player loses 2 life and you can escape it. This isn't even good in limited, in my opinion. 1 out of 5. Funeral Rites, 2 and a black sorcery. You may draw 2 cards. You draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, and put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Limited, yeah, good. Constructed, 2 out of 5. It will synergize with a couple decks in which obviously anytime you want to draw cards is good, but also putting some things in your graveyard. Think like a Cauldron of Eternity deck. Sure. Maybe. 2 out of 5. Gravebreaker Lamia, 5 CMC for a Snake Lamia rare 4/4 enchantment creature. I'm intrigued. Lifelink. Yeah, okay. When she enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. Spells you cast from your graveyard cost 1 less to cast. The flavor of this being a black card is on point. Think about it. This is taking something from your library and essentially killing it, putting it into your graveyard, and then what do we have from the graveyard that we're able to cast by itself? Escape cards. And this costs 1 less to cast from your graveyard. The point of it being a 5 CMC for a 4/4 with lifelink, though, is a hard sell. Limited, he's going to be a bomb, if you know what I mean. Holy crap. Constructed, 2 out of 5. Certain decks may see use for him. It's kind of like a reverse tutor. You don't put it in your hand, you put it in the grave. And obviously some decks synergize very well with that. But at the cost of 5 CMC to get this going, pretty slow, man. 2 out of 5. Gray Merchant of Asphodel. 5 CMC for a zombie 2/4 blech. When he enters the battlefield, this person loses X life or X devotion back. Nope. Not even in limited. 1 out of 5. Grim Physician. Black. A zombie. When he dies, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Too inconsistent to be useful. 1 out of 5. If they have no creature, he loses his whole benefit. And he's a 1/1. Useless. So 1 out of 5. Hateful Eidolon. So a black for an enchantment creature spirit 1/2. Okay, lifelink. Okay. But whenever an enchanted creature dies, does this count as an enchanted creature because he's an enchantment? I think it does. Draw a card for each aura you controlled that was attached to it. Ooh, now we get to the Now we get to the poopy point of it, right? Because not only do you have to have an enchanted creature die, which could be this one, you have to have an aura and it has to be attached to it. Okay, so let me be fair to it. You're only going to play this in decks with a lot of auras. And if you think about it, you're playing your auras, your creature dies, and then you get a draw back from it, however many are. So 2 out of 5. I'm not going to be that mean to it. Limited only if you have a lot of auras and a lot of low to the ground creatures. 2 out of 5 constructed. Inevitable End, 2 and a black for enchant creature has at the beginning of your upkeep sacrifice a creature. Oh, I remember this one being spoiled a long time ago. So, you put this on your opponent's most threatening card, right? And at the beginning of their upkeep. So, you put on your turn, you're putting it on them. It swings to their turn. They already have to sacrifice a creature. Now, the question becomes, do they sacrifice their most powerful, valuable creature? Or do they sacrifice something alongside it? And every upkeep of theirs, they have to sacrifice another creature. So it's kind of like a Doom Foretold for 3. And it doesn't hit you. It just hits them. Pretty cool. But it's only creatures. It's not any permanent, obviously. And it could be a token creature too, which is kind of... But it's strong. It's strong. If there's a lot of creatures out there in the meta, which there very well might be, this is pretty strong because it's a everlasting effect, you know. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say 3 out of 5. Not to mention in limited, this is absolutely busted. Lampad of Death's Vigil, 2 CMC for enchantment creature with a 1/3. So for the cost of 1, sack a creature, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. So you would have to have the widest deck in the world to make any use of this. 1 out of 5. Limited, bad too. Minions return 2 and a black. Enchantment aura, flash, enchant creature. When the creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. This is pretty cool. Yeah, it's almost like a counter for black, because if they're trying to target your creature and kill it instead of countering it, you're basically saying, okay, well, he's gonna die, he comes right back. And the bonus is obviously in decks where you have creatures with ETB effects. Think of something like your Yarok's Finlurker on turn 2. Discard a card, exile a card. Turn 3, you pop this guy on. So he's going to exile another card. I mean, obviously, Yarok's Finlurkers are weak bodies, but, that's what I'm trying to point out. It's just, especially creatures with ETB effects, it's amazing. Something like a Cavalier of Night. Woo! Gosh. Mire Triton. Oh, the value 3 out of 5. Mire Triton, 2 CMC, 2/1 Death Touch. Zombie Merfolk. When he enters the battlefield, put the top 2 cards of the library in the graveyard and gain 2 life. That's not too bad. Decent ETB effect. Of course, you're just going to do it in decks where graveyard synergy is a thing, and you're gaining 2 life. You need life in black decks because a lot of your cards make you use life as a cost. Plus Death Touch. That's impressive. That's a solid 3 out of 5. And in limited, once again, if you're able to get some sort of graveyard synergy at all, that's busted. Mire's Grasp, 2 CMC, enchantment aura, creature gets -3, -3. What is, there's like a one, there's a black, I think, aura in standard, or did it rotate? That was -2, -2. It looked like a ball and chain. I guess this is a little bit better, but limited's powerful enough. Constructed, we're talking 2 out of 5 tops. Mogus's favor, a black enchant aura creature gets +2/-1, and you get to escape it. I don't know. It's a pretty cheap costing card. And you can make something relatively weak strong. Limited, maybe it's a good thing. Constructed, I am not thinking of any amazing options here. 1 out of 5. Nightmare Shepherd. 4 CMC enchantment creature rare with a 4/4 body flyer. Gosh, these arts are beautiful. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, you can create a nightmare. So it's a nightmare, and it doesn't say a flying nightmare, does it? So I think these are ground-based creatures. If they were flyers, that would be interesting. But, oh, okay. You're creating a token that's a copy of the creature. So any persistent effects, and I think even ETB effects, right? Right? Still trigger, except it's a 1/1, whatever, and it's a nightmare. So that's strong. That's going to go in certain decks. The fact that it's a creature on the board and it has to have other things die around it makes it a little bit harder to realize. But it's almost like a flicker, assuming they die around you, but obviously it's not that easy. A solid 3 out of 5. I think in limited he's going to be a bomb. Oh yeah. Nyxborn Marauder, 4 CMC, enchantment creature, 4/3 vanilla. No man, no. Think about like Bone Crusher Giant, 3 CMC, 4/4/3. Not to mention has the stomp side. No. 1 out of 5. Limited, maybe barely sees play because of the 4 power. Omen of the Dead for the cost of a swamp enchantment flash. When he enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and then for the cost of 2 and a black, sacrifice the scry 2. This is strong. 3 out of 5. Yeah. And limited, it'll see play too, even. Yeah. That's a really cheap costing card. You can just hold 1 black up on your opponent's turn. If they kill your card or whatever, right back in your hand. It's amazing. Not to mention late game, scrying and stuff. Rika's Libation, 3 CMC for an instant. Target opponent sacrifices a creature or enchantment. No. Like, I don't want to compare this to, but think about Angrath's Rampage, right? It's a red and a black. So just 2 CMC. It does a creature, planeswalker, or artifact. Granted, this is enchantment, but it has 1 of 3 options. It's also sorcery, and this is instant. It'll probably be sideboarded in occasionally. And limited, it's pretty decent. But we're talking 2 out of 5 here tops. Farika's Spawn, 3 and a black. Creature Gorgon 3/4, so you can escape it for 6. He escapes with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. When it enters the battlefield this way, each opponent sacrifices a non-Gorgon creature. So in limited, this is a bomb. In constructed, I don't know if this is good enough or if you'd rather put actual valuable cards in it. Like, instead of paying a 4 CMC Farika Spawn, you can have a 4 CMC frickin' Erebos Bleak Hearted. Wow. Rage, we're going to say 2 out of 5, but in limited, bomb. Rage Guard Berserker is 5 CMC 5/4. Minotaur Berserker. When he enters the battlefield, target creature control gets +1 and gains indestructible. Okay. So the problem is your opponent's going to see this coming a mile away. Not to mention a 5 CMC for a 5/4 isn't that impressive. So, you know, I'm being very harsh with some of these ratings, but he's a 1 out of 5 in constructed. In limited, yeah, he's pretty strong in limited, but constructed 1 out of 5. Scavenging Harpy, 3 CMC, 2/1 creature flying Harpy. When she enters the battlefield, exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. Gosh, if this was 2 at CMC, I would love it. But for 3, that's rough. That's brutal, man. I mean, maybe in certain decks, he'll be a good overall flying beater. But once again, it's you only get the value if you're exiling a good card. So he's a 1 out of 5 constructed. In limited, not much better. Soul Reaper of Mogus, 3 CMC for an enchantment creature. Minotaur Shaman, that is a mouthful. 2/3. 2 and a black, sack a creature, draw a card. I mean, I think his flavor's on point, but unless you have some sort of real wide token creature deck, but even then you're paying 3 and getting rid of a creature just to draw a card. That's rough. In limited, it might see some play, like if you get lucky with certain cards to sack and not miss them too much, but 1 out of 5 constructed. Temple Thief, 2 CMC creature. Can't be blocked by enchanted creatures or enchantment creatures, 2/2. Once again, 2 conditional to get any sort of value. Not to mention, is your opponent going to be scared of a 2/2 hitting your face? Probably not. 1 out of 5, limited, not much better. Treacherous Blessing, 3 CMC enchantment rare. When it enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards. Whoa. Whenever you cast a spell, you lose 1 life. Whoa. When it becomes a target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. Okay, so in certain decks, this is going to be really powerful. Drawing 3 for 3 is powerful, and also the fact that you lose life. Sometimes that synergizes well for certain decks. I don't know why necessarily it sacrifices itself when it becomes the target of a spell or ability. Generally, if it's being targeted, it's being destroyed anyways, but maybe they're trying to prevent it from being broken in another way I can't think of. But generally with black, you're just doing all you can to kill yourself, but only you want to kill your opponent before you kill yourself. And drawing 3 cards could definitely help you do that. Plus, you get to draw your 3 cards, and you don't take any damage yet until you start casting that next spell. So, yeah, I mean, that's strong. It's conditional, but it's strong. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. In limited, it seems incredible because generally that's going to give you that much reach to end the game in the next turn or 2. My throat. Tyra Met calls the dead. All right, I'm going to say something about this card. So we're at 200%. Let me zoom into this ugly mofo. Well, whatever, won't let me right here. But look at this card. I went on Reddit and I said this guy looks fugly. And I think it's true. I'm not saying the art is bad, but he's fugly. And I got like a -5 votes. I'm sorry, but he's fugly no matter what. The art is fine. The artist is good. Vincent Prince, good job. But still, that thing is ugly to look at. I'm sorry, no matter what. 3 CMC, Rare Saga. So turn 1 and 2, or, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Wow, so that's 6. Then you may exile a creature or enchantment. If you do, create a... So what we're looking at is 6 in the graveyard. And then you can exile 2 of those creatures to create 2/2 black zombie tokens. So far, I'm not impressed. You gain X life and scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. No. I don't think so. I think this is weaker than it looks, guys, honestly. 2 out of 5. Limited, maybe. You're not even drawing these cards. Look, you're not drawing, you're just scrying. Who cares if you gain 2 life? Whatever, that's... Nope. 2 out of 5. Tyrant, chosen from death. Black. Legendary enchantment creature demigod. Tyramet's toughness is equal to your devotion to black. Alright, 1 in a black, exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards. You gain 1 life for each creature card exiled this way. Honestly, that's not terrible. It's targeted extended exiling of cards just for the cost of 2 CMC. And you gain life for every creature card. So if the meta pops off with creatures, think Cauldron Familiar, whatever, if he's still around, he's going to be sideboarded in at the very least. So I'm going to give him a 3 out of 5. I think in Limited he'll have a harder time, but in Constructed, sideboarded in, yeah, he'll be good. Underworld Charger, 2 in a black for 3/3. Nightmare Horse. He can't block, but he escapes with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. He doesn't have haste. Okay, so I think he's bad. I think he's bad in Constructed. He can't block. He has 3 toughness. Not that impressive. He doesn't have haste. Yeah, when he escapes, he's a 5/5, but your opponent sees him coming from a mile away. And for 5 CMC, a 5/5, is that really that good? I don't think so. I don't think so. No. So in Constructed, he might barely see some play as a 2 out of 5. In Limited, maybe. Underworld Dreams, black. I think this is my favorite art of the whole set that I saw spoiled so far. I just, for some reason, I think it's so epic. Good job, Pendersky. Apparently that's his name. First and last, just Pendersky. I love it. Dreams are just one more form of torment. Ooh, spooky. When an opponent draws a card, Underworld Dreams deals 1 damage to that player. You know there's going to be some jank, especially because this isn't legendary, where you're just going to kill your opponent by letting them draw cards. Yeah. But I think it's just going to be some weird jank. So, you know, maybe like a 2 out of 5 tops for Constructed. Limited, no, it's too slow. Venomous Hierophant. 4 CMC for a 3/3 creature Gorgon Cleric. I think, do all Gorgons have Death Touch? You know, certain tribes, I see certain keywords more often, but I wonder if some of them are... No, not all do. There's a Gorgon, the Frasca's Finisher. I think that's a Gorgon. Does not have Death Touch, but will kill something that was damaged. So the flavor's same. When Venomous, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. That's pretty strong. 3 cards for a 3/3 Death Touch for 4. Pretty strong. That's a 3 out of 5. Certain decks will definitely love to see her. And not to mention, if you're in Limited and you have Graveyard Synergy, that's really good. Whoa, Strider. This reminds me of Yarok's Fenlurker. That thing. Is that a horror too? I bet it's a horror. Because it looks like it. The long arms, long legs. 3 CMC, creature horror, rare, 3/2. When enters the battlefield, create a white goat creature token. Sacrifice a creature, scry 1. Escapes with 2 +1/+1. Okay. So I think this is pretty strong. You know, it's not mind-blowing, but it is value. Definitely in Limited, it's very, very powerful. Yeah. But in Constructed, like a 2 out of 5. I don't know. 2 out of 5. I don't know. Look at that. He enters the battlefield. He creates a token. So that's sacrifice object. And he comes out as a 5/4 with another sacrifice object. But in a pinch, you can sacrifice the dude to scry 1. Or you get other value, like weird things like, you know, Priest of Forgotten Gods or something. Okay, 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. I changed my mind. Red. Let's see if Red Burn come back. Maybe mono red or just more red aggro in general. We do have pretty good night synergy now, so I wonder if we're going to have something different. The Akroan War. I saw the art for this. It looks okay. I'm not super impressed, though. 4 CMC. Rare Saga. Gain control of target creature for as long as it remains on the battlefield. So if you're putting it down, you generally will have it for 2 more turns. Plus, if he's not summoned sick, it's like you're taking the creature and giving it haste in a way. Until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able. So that's cool. You get to kind of pick and choose your battle, so to say. And then at the end, each tapped creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. Okay, so basically it forces them to attack, and then since they attack, they're going to be tapped. It's going to swing back to your turn, and then they deal damage to themselves. Not to mention, you can pick and choose the blockers that you want to have. And you can even attack with the creature that you stole to make sure it's tapped, if not kill it outright. So that's value. It's very conditional value, though. You would only play it against a deck that has a lot of creatures, and I don't typically see red wanting to do that. I don't know. I'm not feeling it very much. It's a 2 out of 5. I think in limited it's going to be more powerful because limited is usually just throw valuable creatures out there and kind of pray. But in constructed, 2 out of 5. Anax, Hardened in the Forge, 3 CMC for a power devotion to red. So it comes down as a 2/3. Whenever Anax or another dies, create a 1/1 satyr with can't block. Okay, so that's value, especially in limited. That's value. But he doesn't have haste or anything fun like that. 2 out of 5. Arena Trickster. Oop, lights flickered again. Arena Trickster, 3 and a red creature. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, put a 1/1 counter on the Trickster. Starts as a 3/3. So, I mean, I would think something like, is it Flash? But, I mean, he's a ground-based creature. He's prone to removal like the turn you put him down. He only has 3 toughness, and then it's only your first spell during each opponent's turn. So each opponent's turn makes me think, something crazy like Commander, multiplayer formats. I don't know. So limited, I think he'll be cool. Constructed, 2 out of 5. Aspect of Manticore, 2 and a red, flash enchant creature. When Aspect of Manticore enters the battlefield, enchanted creature gains first strike until end of turn. Okay, that's pretty powerful. So it's instant speed, first strike, +2/+0. But I think there's better cards that do that, like actual instants. 1 out of 5. Limited, it's a hard sell too, I think, honestly. Simply because there's better out there. Like in a vacuum, obviously limited to only Theros, it'll be good, but like, yeah. So in limited, it'll be okay, but not in constructed. Blood Aspirant, 1 in red. Creature, Satire Berserker. He doesn't look like a Berserker. He looks happy, man. Berserker, I think. Whatever. 1 and a 1. 1/1. Whenever you sacrifice permanent, put a 1/1 counter on Blood Aspirant. What? 1 in a red. Sacrifice a creature or enchantment. Deals 1 damage to target creature. What? That creature can't block this turn? This is terrible. It's way too greedy for red. No. 1 out of 5. Too slow, too conditional. He starts off as a 1/1. I'm sorry. And he can't even ping whatever he wants. It's just target creature. That's 1 out of 5. Careless Celebrants. I'm not liking red so far, guys. I'm sorry. Careless Celebrant, 1 in the black, or 1 in red. 2/1. When Careless Celebrant deals 2 damage to card creature. So this is already infinitely better than this dude, I think. 2 out of 5. Limited, pretty decent too. Not amazing. Dream Shaper Shaman. 5 and a red. So 6 CMC for a 5/4 enchantment creature. Beginning of your end step, you may pay 2 and a red and sacrifice an all-land permanent. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land permanent card. Put that card in the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Non-land permanent. So there's a historic deck that I've played that I made a video on my channel about a month ago called Big Red. I would like to see Dream Shaper Shaman in Big Red. Yeah. But I don't know about Standard. And, you know, Unlimited, he's got value because you're putting another body on the board. That's cool. And it's every end step, too. That's something I just now realized. So, yeah, if they don't answer it, you can just start getting value. Pretty sweet, pretty sweet. That's a 2 out of 5 in Standard constructed. Limited, he's better. And Historic, he's better. Dreamstalker Manicore, 2 and a red, 4/2 enchantment creature. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn. What? Any target? I don't know. I guess that's not too bad. It's a 4/2. Of course, he's susceptible to removal, but red dealing 4 damage, that's okay. Plus, you're gaining a little bit of reach on your opponent's turn. Like if you have lightning strikes, stuff of that nature, it's 1 extra. It's like a mini Torbrand for your instants and sorcery spells. And he's enchantment. So I think there's going to be some weird synergies with the dude. 3 out of 5. And limited, probably pretty cool too. Escape Velocity. Man, he is like getting off work on Friday, going home, ready to party it up. You can tell he's just ready to get the heck out of there. So red for an enchantment aura. Creature gets +1/+0 and has haste. Okay. The escape cost is pretty cheap. Given whatever haste for the cost of just a red +1 power. Yeah, that's solid. That's 3 out of 5. You know, certain red decks will want to use this. And limited, not too bad either. Fateful End. I really love the art on this one. What the heck is that creature, though? I have no clue. It's like an ox whose horns have grown over his eyes. And all of a sudden, he is like... He's got the gnarliest teeth in the world, dude. But this whole art just looks amazing. It's a 3 CMC for an instant to deal 3 damage to any target and scry 1. Oh, man. Okay, so think about it this way. It's not as good as other cards out there in Constructed. It just is not, in my opinion. Limited, it's very powerful, though. Dealing 3 and scrying, instant speed. Limited, good. Constructed, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 for the scry alone. 2 out of 5. Final Flare, 3 CMC, instant. Additional cast a spell, sacrifice creature, or enchantment. So, in other words, you can't cast it unless you sacrifice. It does deal 5 damage to target creature. Oh, boo, it killed it right there at the end for sure. So not only are you getting rid of a creature or enchantment, you're also paying 3, and you're only dealing 5. Well, you're dealing 5, which is a lot, but only to target creature. Ooh, 1 out of 5. That is way too bad. If that was any permanent, we would be talking. We would be. Because it'd almost be like a mini fling. You deal the damage, you sack, you deal 3 more, or you cost 3 more to sack them to deal 5 more. Yeah, but no, limited even. That's rough, man. That's rough. That's a 1 out of 5. Flummoxed. What's flummoxed mean? Cyclops. 4 CMC for a 4/4. That's a lot of 4. Creature Cyclops. There's this little eye there. It's like she's fanning his bottom with a banner. Cyclops thinks slowly but strikes quickly. You try to keep it thinking. Is that like hair on his arm and his back? What a beast. Whenever 2 or more creatures your opponent control attack, Flummox Cyclops can't block this combat? Okay. He's got reach? Okay. I think in limited he'll be solid enough. In constructed, he's a 1 out of 5. Furious Rise, 3 CMC enchantment. More gorgeous art, man. Clothies. Alright, that's the god, I bet. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card into exile another card with Furious Rise. That seems quite conditional, guys. It's 3 to get something at your end step, able to play till your next end step, but it's only happens if you have power 4 or greater. I'm not feeling it. 1 out of 5. Limited, pretty bad also. Hero of the games, 2 in a red. Creature, 3/2. Whenever you cast a spell that targets the dude, creatures you control get +1 until end of turn. +1 power. That reminds me of one of the cards we reviewed in white. And I think the one in white, it only hit the cards around the targeted one. This hits all, including the dude. I think this is powerful, especially in limited with the right setup, but even in constructed, think about it. Hero of the games plus escape velocity, right? So he's getting +1, +0, plus haste, plus he's getting another +1 from himself. So for 4 CMC, you're getting a 5/2 hasty boy. Not to mention all your other creatures get +1 power. Broken. That's really good. That's a 4 out of 5. In the right deck, 4 out of 5. Very solid, very solid. Heroes of the Revel, or Revel, I think. 5 CMC for a 4/4. Ouch. When Heroes of the Revel enters the better, create a red 1/1. Whenever you cast a spell that targets him, creatures you control gets +1. So basically, this gets the same clause that Hero of the Game gets. Except Heroes of the Revel gives you an additional body on the board by himself. But instead of 3 CMC, we're talking 5 CMC. That's a lot later in the match. And generally with these sort of decks, you want to have a lot of cheap creatures with a lot of spells to pump it all up. And if you're casting a 5 CMC, you generally don't have the mana left over to pump up your dudes. So Hero of the Game's much better than Heroes of the Revel. This is like a 2 out of 5. In limited, it'll be good, sure, but no. Constructed, 2 out of 5. Impending Doom, 3 CMC. Enchantment Aura. Creature gets +3/+3 and attacks each combat if able. When the creature dies, deals 3 to that creature's controller. Okay, guys. Think of something random like a Fervent Champion. Gets +3/+3, so he's a 4/4 with first strike, and he has to attack. So generally, if you're red and you're trying to aggro out, you don't care if you're taking some consequential damage, because the whole point is to kill them and within like 4, 5, 6 turns tops. I think it's strong, especially in limited. In constructed, I think it's a hard sell, kind of like him. 2 out of 5. Incendiary Oracle. 2 CMC, 2/2 creature. 2, 1 and a red. Oracle gets +1/+0 until end of turn. If a creature dealt damage by would die this turn, exile and sit. No. That's not good. Not good enough. People will not block that unless they want to, basically. And then they know if it's going to die, it's going to be exiled. And if that matters to them, they just won't block it for 3 damage coming in. Whoop-de-doo. 1 out of 5. Limited. I mean, potentially you could pump him up to like a 4, 4/2, or on your 4th land. I don't know. Limited, he'll be okay. But did I say constructed? 1 out of 5. Infuriate, cost of a red, target creature gets +3/+2 until end of turn. That's so massive. What do we think of? We think of, what's that, giant growth for green? Just the cost of a green. +4/+4. So, these are hard to ever compare when that sits in everyone's mind. I think it's just a green for a +4/+4, right? Giant growth. Is that what it's called even? But for red, generally you have the smaller creatures. Buffing up +3 is absolutely massive. Not to mention, this is even better than escape velocity for hero of the games. Of course, it doesn't give it haste, but if your dude has the summon sickness off, boom. So good. I don't know. This is really powerful too. This is as well. Okay, red's picking up steam for me a little bit, guys. This is like a 3 out of 5 solid. And in limited, pretty bonkers too. Iroas's Blessing with 4 CMC enchantment aura. Enchant creature you control. When Iroas's Blessing enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to target creature or a planeswalker. Wow. Whoa. Wow. So the thing about red is you always think you're going to have creatures on the board. That's the point of red, essentially. Small creatures. So even though it's conditional, right? You have to enchant creature you control. It's not too much of a worry because red is about having creatures on the board and smash, smash, smash. 4 CMC to deal 4. It's not face, but it gets rid of things in the way, and at worst, it buffs up your creature by +1/+1. Not to mention, this is a spell that could target your hero of games. So not only is it getting +1/+1, it's getting +2/+1, and all your other creatures on the side are getting +1/+0. Okay. This is a solid, I'm going to say solid 3 out of 5 because it's more conditional and it can't hit face, but it's still a strong 3 out of 5. Once again, limited to, think red. If you're going to have red, you're going to have creatures, and dealing 4 targeted damage to a creature or planeswalker. Good. Irreverent Revelers. So many revelers, and that's a mouthful to say. Irreverent Revelers. 3 CMC for a 2/2 creature. When he enters the battlefield, choose 1, destroy target artifact, or Irreverent Revelers gains haste until end of turn. So this makes me think of that card, Embereth Shieldbreaker, I think it's called. For the cost of a red sorcery speed, you can destroy target artifact. And I think the other side is a 2/1 for 2. The thing is, he doesn't have the option of having the haste, but this does. This is going to be a sideboard option, I think. I don't know, though, if he's going to replace Embereth Shieldbreaker. But I think it might, because in certain situations, if they don't have a target artifact out, you'd probably rather pay the 3 CMC to have a hasty boy 2/2 than a 2 CMC 2/1 with no haste. So sideboard, he may be possible, and also limited. We're not seeing a lot of artifacts in this set, but they still exist, obviously, from the whole rest of standard. So I don't know. Limited, are we seeing the artifacts? I don't know. I don't think so. I think in limited, he'll be bad. In constructed, he'll be situational, 2 out of 5. Nyxborn Brute, 5 CMC, 7/3 vanilla. Vanilla. He has no other keywords. No trample, no vigilance, no haste mob. 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. That 7 is something. It's something. But it's low and dumb. Look at him. He is low and dumb. Limited, I don't even know if that's good because 3, right? By the time you're getting to 5, your opponent has 3 damage, right? 2 out of 5. Omen of the Forge. I think this one's going to be good from what I saw. 2 CMC, Enchantment Flash. Enters the battlefield, deals 2 damage to any target. So 2 for an instant speed 2. Think of Stomp. And then for 3, get to scratch. Okay, so let me take that back. This isn't generally what you want to see in red, at least in standard. I mean, if you're thinking about maybe like a big red or a mid-range red, the ability to scry is something. Two out of 5. I can't give it more than that. Limited, I think it's going to give something just enough reach to have value in and of itself, plus the scry will help in limited. But constructed, 2 out of 5, and I think that's being a little bit generous. Or Reed of Mountain's Blessing. Blaze. Wow. 2 CMC, 1/3, enchantment creature, 2 in a red, discard a card, draw a card. So this isn't as bad as it looks. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 because generally red, you know exactly what cards are going to help you to win and what aren't. And sometimes it sucks, but yeah, discarding a card and paying that might be worth, even in limited too. So 2 out of 5. It's not as bad as it looks. Ox of Agonis. I think this guy's a dud from what I remember, but let me see now. 5 CMC for a 4/2. Already sounds kind of poopy. When Ox of Agonis enters the battlefield, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. So wait, hold up. That doesn't sound bad. Plus your... Oh, there's the bad. So the cost of red isn't bad, but exile 8 other cards. Oh! Whoa! So a card like Oread gets you discarding, gets more in that graveyard for you, but whoa, 8 for a red deck? Whoa! He doesn't have haste either. It's interesting because if you think of red, you're trying to burn out, right? You're trying to use your very last card on like turn 3, 4, 5 tops to finish your opponent. But this just says you're putting down a 4/2, maybe your last card, to draw 3 cards. Yes, you're discarding your hand, so maybe you're discarding 1. I don't know. I think giving it a 3 out of 5 would be a little bit generous, but there's going to be some sort of combo with the discard enough to make it not hurt so bad. And when he escapes, it's with a +1/+1 counter on it, and you escape when you want to draw the 3 cards again. So 3 out of 5 constructed, and I'm having a hard job saying that. Limited. Yeah, sure. Phoenix of Ash, 3 CMC for a Phoenix rare, 2/2. So we think flying, yeah, haste, okay. But what is Arc-like Phoenix? I think it's a 4 CMC for a 3/2 flying haste. 2 in a red, gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Escapes with... Okay. Well... I mean, I don't know. This guy, the 2/2 flying haste isn't really selling it to me, but he does have the upswing of potentially getting to be a big dude. As the game goes on, you keep adding +2/+2 damage here and there. It adds up. Plus, you get to bring him back for the cost of just 1 more and 3 cards from your graveyard exiled. And when he escapes, it's with a +1/+1 counter. Okay. One important thing to remember about escape is that as long as you have the cards in your graveyard, you could theoretically cast it every turn, you know? If you have the mana and you have the cards and he escapes with the haste and the 1/1. Is he a 2 out of 5 or a 3 out of 5? I think he's a 2 out of 5. I don't know. In a discard heavy deck, he could be a 3 out of 5. I'm going to go with 3 out of 5. Someone's going to make a deck that works with him. Yeah. In limited, I think he's still pretty strong even in limited, honestly. I'm being a little bit more sold on him over time. Yeah, 3 out of 5. Portent? What's a portent of betrayal? 4 CMC sorcery, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Ooh. Any creature. It doesn't say CMC this or that. And you get to scry. Ooh. What are those decks I've been seeing lately? Rakdos, Aristocrats, Witch's Oven, right? And it used whatever of the firstborn, claim the firstborn, but that is a 1 CMC, just a red. This is 4, but it can hit any creature. And it's scry 1. So it has a potential for a much higher upswing. And you get to scry. I think certain decks might have 1 or 2 of in this. It's a 2 out of 5. Yeah. I think in limited, it's not going to be worth it because like you get the 1 swing with it and then it's right back and you spent your 4 mana. Like unless you can synergize well with the whole sacrifice thing with Witch's Oven and stuff, you're not going to get maximum value from this. So limited, I think it's a tough sell. Constructed slightly better, 2 out of 5. So here's our god, right? Yeah, look at him. Wait, I thought Clothies was a red one. Am I wrong? I don't know, whatever. Where is Clothies? Did I already do him? Perforos, Bronze Blooded, 5 CMC, 7/6. Wow. And indestructible still? Wow. As long as your devotion to red is less using a creature. Other creatures you control have haste. Boom! Holy moly, you may put a red creature card order from your hand on the battlefield. Boom! Oh my gosh, what's that name? What's that dude's name? Rakanoth? Raxoth? That 5 CMC or 7 CMC? That dragon? That when he enters, when he attacks, he deals 4 to something and then 3 to the... Oh! You know what? Big Red and Standard might have a chance. Holy crap. And this guy is good with even just aggro, right? Low to the ground aggro without hasters because you put one of him down, done. Indestructible. And if you ever get 5 red devotion, oh my gosh. Wow. Holy crap. Is he a 4 or is he a 5 out of 5? I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Wow, he has the potential for so much burst. I think he's a little bit clunky. You have to have the right setup. But the thing about these gods that I'm thinking is going to happen is they're going to have so much value just sitting there. How are they ever going to get gotten rid of, right? Your opponent's going to have to tell you to sacrifice something or have a ton of -1/-1 counters that will not work, or exile. And it's not, a lot of the cards we're seeing are exile from graveyard. It's not necessarily exile from the board. I think white had a few. So that's their strength, whatever. Wow, though, wow. I think black had a couple too, but I'm going to say 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. But I'm happy because I think seeing him gives us a chance of big red in standard, which I'm a fan of big red more than aggro red, honestly. All right, Perforos Intervention, X and a red. I'm already more happy to see this instead of X red. Sorcery rare, choose one. Create an X1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste. Ooh. I like it. I do. I'm not as much sold on the second clause, but even then it's not too bad, right? Trample and haste. So let's say like 2 and a red. It's okay. All right. I'm going to be fair and say it's just a 2 out of 5. I wanted to give it 3, but no. What about limited, huh? Sure, because it has that flexibility to deal quite a bit of damage as the time goes on a little bit. Yeah, okay. Is it a 2 or a 3? 2. I'm just going to say it and move on. Satyr's Cunning, red, sorcery. 1/1, red, Satyr, creature token with can't block. Escape for 3. No, that's terrible. Who cares about making a 1/1 that can't block? 1 out of 5. That's the weakest card we've seen so far. That's terrible. Ugh. Skophos Maid Warden, 4 CMC, 3/4. Oh boy. 1, Skophos gets +1/-1, so he'd be a 4/3. Whenever another creature becomes a target of an ability of a land. So we have to see this land to give him any sort of real credit. So we're going to hold off on him until we see that land. Skophos War Leader, 5 CMC, 4/5, creature. Wow, that's bad. Red, sacrifice another creature enchantment gets Menace. Okay, that's not terrible. Not terrible. Menace is underrated, I think, overall. And not to mention he gets +1. Yeah. So he's a 2 out of 5. I'm not giving him any more than that, but limited, that seems pretty OP to be a finisher. Stampede Rider, 3 CMC, 2/3 trample. At the beginning of each combat, if you control a creature with power 4, so even in a big red deck, I don't think you'd see this dude. 1 out of 5. Limited, possibly he could get some value. Storm Herald, we have a 3 CMC creature with haste, rare, 3/2. When he enters the battlefield, return any number of aura cards from your graveyard about attached to the creatures you control. Oh. So, okay. This has to go in aura-heavy decks, but for 3 CMC, you got to think, when he enters the battlefield, how much value is he actually going to get for you? So it has to be at least a mid-range deck or more. And I can't think of too many aura cards off the top of my head that we've seen. I've seen a lot in the last 3 hours almost, but geez, I don't. You know, it's going to have some value attached to it, but not amazing. 2 out of 5, limited if done right. Could be a little bit higher than that. Storm's Wrath. Okay, I think we're getting on to something here. 2 red. 4 CMC, rare sorcery. Storm's Wrath deals 4 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. So, I've heard the comment of this in like a Jeskai Fires type deck, and I'm feeling it. There's not too many spells out there that deals damage to creatures and planeswalkers all at once. And think about it, playing it right on curve with the Fires of Invention. Strong. This is a 4 out of 5. Yep. You're going to play it only in decks where it makes sense for you. And it's going to be basically a board wipe. Tectonic Giant, 4 CMC for a rare 3/4 creature elemental giant. When he attacks or becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, you choose 1. So when he attacks or he's the target, choose 1. Deal 3 damage to each opponent. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Choose 1 of them and send them in the next turn. Okay, he's strong. That's a solid 3 out of 5. Okay, and limited, even better than that. But he does his job. Yeah, he does. And he's an elemental too. I wonder if we're going to see elementals come back. I mean, I don't see him hearkening the comeback, but yeah, that's pretty good. If you're spending a card to put him down and they're spending a card to kill it, and additionally you're dealing 3 damage to opponent, cool. Especially in a red deck, or essentially you're drawing another card. Excellent. That's value. Thrill of Possibility. Okay, so this is a reprint, right? 2 CMC instant. As additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card, draw a token. So this is like another one of those cards. Tormenting Voice. So in one way, it's objectively better because it's an instant instead of a sorcery. What's that finale of Devastation? What is it? Finale of Revelation, Eternity, crap, I forget. But that one wants you to grab an instant and a sorcery. So it's important to note now that we have both. But don't we have Tormenting Voice in Standard now? Or did that just rotate? I'm confused. All I know is we don't see as much Phoenix near as much as we did before rotation. So I think people generally are happy to have this back in Standard from what I understand. And I can see why. Essentially, you're getting rid of this card and another crap card in your hand to draw 2 for instant speed, 2 CMC. That's powerful. 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. And in limited, even better than that. The Triumph of Anax. 3 CMC for a Saga. End of turn, target creature gains trample. Until end of turn, target creature gains trample and gets +X+O, where X is the number of lore counters on the Triumph of Anax. Oh, whoa. This goes up to 4? Wait, what? So, does that mean you get to pick each turn? I think it does. So, first turn, you put it down. Your dude gets +1/+0 and trample. So by turn 3, you're giving a creature +3/+0 with trample. So this is progressively stronger, but your problem is you have to have a creature each turn to really get effect. Not to mention, look here at 4. Target creature you control fights up to 1 you don't control. And on that last step, you don't have any of the +X/+0. So this is conditional, guys. It is good if you get your guys to survive. It's a total of +6 damage for 3 CMC and trample, but spread out over turns and assuming you have creatures alive. So it's a 2 out of 5 and limited. It seems pretty darn good though. Underworld Breach, 2 CMC enchantment rare, each non-land card. Whoa. Look at this. Wait. Look at this. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost equal to the card's mana cost plus. Oh. What? At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice Underworld Breach. Holy moly cannoli oil. This is going to be abused in some way. It's not a 5 out of 5. But certain decks are going to just really use this. This isn't on the power level of Fires of Inventions, I don't think. But why does Fires keep getting these cool effects? You know? This is cool like Fires of Inventions. And most of the cards you think of, their escape cost is higher than their base cost. But this is saying it's just equal to the regular cost. Plus you're exiling 3 other cards instead of 4 or 5 or 8 like the frickin' Ox. So that makes me wonder also if something already has an escape cost, plus you have this, I think this overrides it because it's your passive static effect, right? Or do you get to pick and choose a cost? I think either way it's good because generally the cost is supposed to be more when you're escaping, but this is saying it's less or you're getting to pick. This is strong. This is 4 out of 5. Not to mention in limited, if you save up enough mana and lands in your graveyard, you can play 2 creatures from your graveyard or whatever, plus, you know, this. You get value out of it. Boom. Probably win. Woo! Yeah, that's 4 out of 5. Underworld Fires, 2 CMC sorcery. Deals 1 damage to each creature and each planeswalker permanent die this turn. Dealt damage this way. Yeah, so, see, not good. 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. It does hit everything, including a planeswalker. Cool. But if you're trying to hit like a cat, they just Witch's Oven, and it didn't get damage dealt that way, so it wouldn't get exiled. 2 out of 5. Limited, maybe a little bit better because it gives you that little extra reach that someone doesn't know about, or it's hitting things like You know, not a Paradise Druid in Limit, obviously, but something that you can't normally hit. Underworld Ragehound, 2 CMC, creature, 3/1. He attacks each combat if able. This sounds awful. Escapes with a no. He's forced to attack. Obviously, red wants to, but you get to pick and choose your token creature or whatever. No, and that is costly for a 4/2. 4 and exile 3. I don't like it. I don't like it. Underworld Breach makes it a little bit better, but I think Underworld Breach is going to make all escape better. So he is a 2 out of 5. Limited, a little bit better. Wrap in Flames, 4 CMC sorcery. Deals 1 damage to each of up to 3 target creatures. Huh. They can't block this turn. So the only saving grace on this is the block clause. Even still, I'm not super buying it, man. You're better off just spending that mana to kill something, I think. This is a 1 out of 5, and limited, maybe a little bit better to sneak in there and win. We're down to the green. Arasta of the Endless Web. Legendary enchantment creature, Spider. Look at that boss. Oh my gosh. I have arachnophobia, guys. I don't like looking at this. 4 CMC for a 3/5 rare with reach. Spiders usually have reach. That's cool. I like that. Good flavor. When an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell. Whoa. Whoa. My gosh. That's powerful. If the meta shifts in a certain way, you know, I want to say something like is it Flash? Maybe even Simic Flash. This is going to do work, dude. Not to mention Simic Flash. Wolfpack Ambusher, Frilled Mystic. Those deal 4 damage. This can block it for days. Plus, it can kill any of the wolf pups that come in as the 3/3 attackers. She's good. 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. Maybe I'm overestimating, but I'm scared of her too because she's a spider. So I have to respect that. In limited, busted. The Binding of the... I want to play her in limited ASAP. That looks fun. I won't look at her artwork, but she looks fun. The Binding of the Titans, 2 CMC. Gosh, look at this art. Each player puts the top 3 cards of the library into the graveyard. So obviously you're going to make this work for you. This is cool. Exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards. So you can pick one from yours, one from his. I don't know why you'd want to exile your card, but whatever. For each creature card exiled, you gain 1 life. So generally you're thinking you're going to put 3 in his graveyard, yours. You want to benefit from yours for some reason. You want the synergy. And you're going to exile 2 creatures one way or the other to gain 2 life. Return target creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand. Boom. This is a good card. I don't know what deck it's going to go in, but it's a good card. 3 out of 5. Solid 3. Maybe even better, honestly, depending on what synergies I'm missing here. Think about like Golgari, guys. Golgari. Like what's his name? Golgari, Fine Broker, Order of Midnight. Oh my gosh, there's just so much. This is a solid 3, guys, if not 4. I'm liking it. Oh, so far green has not let me down, but green hasn't been letting people down generally in standard and forever. So power for green, it looks like. Chainweb Arachneer. For a cost of a green, 1/2 with reach. Okay. Oh, I think I remember seeing him. Let's keep going. When Chainweb Arachneer, this is a spider with arms and hands, in case you don't see it. Absolutely terrifying. Enters the battlefield. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature with flying an opponent controls. So, yeah. This is a crawl harpooner for 1 less that only deals 1. And I remember when I saw this on Reddit, the thing that I said, that the only thing I see holding it back right now is the fact that it can't beat up a Gilded Goose, right? Because of the 2 toughness. When it escapes. It escapes with 3+1/+1 counters on it. That's incredible, but the cost is also massive. 4 CMC with 4 cards from your graveyard for a 4/5. So the first time you see him, he's not impressive, guys. He really is not. If there's a lot of 1/1 flyers in the air, 1/1 flyers in standard, he would be a thing. But I think you can't just count on a card based on this escape cost, because that is so expensive. And by that point, the Gilded Goose has done its job. Like, he's done his job. So unfortunately, I'm going to rate him a 1 out of 5. I hate doing that. I hate doing that. Limited, he might be something. Destiny Spinner, 2 CMC, 2/3 creature, enchantment creature. What? What? Creatures and enchantments you control can't be countered. Wow. Target land you control becomes a XX elemental creature with trample and haste until end of turn, where X is number of enchantments you saw still land. I don't. So by itself, it gives the creature 1/1, but that's super costly. This whole first clause, though, is amazing. For 2 CMC, and it's a 2/3 body. This is a 3 out of 5, at least, if not 4. Because of this clause alone and how cheap it is, plus the enchantment synergy out there. And she has 3 toughness. She's out of shock range. Wow. Maybe this thing saves us from like Simic in a way. I hope so. I said 3 out of 5. Dryad of the Elysian Grove. 2 and the green. 2/4 rare enchantment creature. You may play additional land on each of your turn. Oh my gosh. Lands you control are every basic land type. Oh my gosh. So green is going nowhere, guys. Remember to put stock in Noxious Grass because the value just keeps going up. This is busted. Hi, Ariel. Kitty says hi. Come here. Wow. I'm gonna shed all over me. Alright, doesn't want to look at the camera. Okay. But, wow. Limited, busted, constructed, busted, 4 out of 5, easy. Don't even need to talk more about that. Think about the interactions with Nissa. Every card being a forest means every card can tap for an extra green. Oh, if it wasn't before, just busted. You get ramp starting, on turn 3 for the rest of the game. Busted. First Ironian Games, 2 and a green. Another 4 count Saga, that's cool, rare. Create egg 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Meh. Put 3+1. Oh, already getting good. Green. If you control a power. Oh, draw 2 cards. What? And then you get to create a gold token. I think I saw a gold token is basically just like a treasure. Add 1 mana of any color. But still, look at all that. It's conditional, but it's strong. That's a solid 3 out of 5. That might be a 4. 3 out of 5. Gift of Strength. What is this? Is this a bat? Is this an armadillo? Is this a raccoon? Look, that tail looks like a raccoon's tail. Or a leopard or something. With a bat face and some sort of weird beaver armadillo. What? The Nessian Wood is never without mutated defenders. 2 CMC, instant. Target creature gains +3/+3 and reach into... What am I thinking of, guys? What is that? Wild growth? Massive growth? Giant growth? Is it a 2 CMC for the +4/+4 until end of turn instant? But it doesn't give you reach, so I don't know. +3/+3 gains reach until... That is a bomb right in and of itself in limited. In constructed, it's not going to see much play, I don't think. 2 out of 5 maximum. Hydra's Growth, 2 and a green. Enchantment Aura, enchanted creature. When Hydra's Growth enters the battlefield, +1/+1 on a change of creature. At the beginning of your up, you double the number of. Oh, double! Think of Mr. Pelt Collector. Disgusting. 3 out of 5. Limited, I think it's going to be kind of difficult to get real value before your creature dies or something. But constructed, that's at least a 3 out of 5. Wow, guys. Green is insane. Noxious Grass, just start putting in your sideboard, guys. High, if you haven't already, and if you have, put them up to 4. Hyrax Tower Scout, 3 CMC for a 3/3 when he enters the battlefield, untap target creature. That seems weak. That seems really weak. Very conditional. 1 out of 5, limited. 3/3 is not too bad of a body, I guess. Elysian, it's kind of like giving a creature vigilance after they attacked or something. 1 out of 5 constructed, though. Elysian Karatiid, 2 CMC for a 1/1. A plant creature. Interesting. Out of 1 mana of any color. What? This is Paradise Druid. What? If you control a creature with power 4 or greater. Okay. So I think Paradise Druid is obviously better with the hexproof and a 2/1 body. It does have a little bit more of a potential upswing. What is that creature I'm thinking of? The Elemental Druid, Leafkin Druid, where it gives you 1 green for 2 CMC. But if you have 3, or is it 4 creatures? I think it's 4 creatures on the board. You get double green. I don't know, man. No, this is 3 out of 5. Solid 3 out of 5. Doesn't hurt. But without the hexproof, oof. Right, oof. In limited, sure, cool. That's ramp. You know, whatever. Inspire Awe, 4 CMC, instant prevent. Okay, fog. What? So it's conditional fog? Ooh, that's going to be spicy in certain decks, but very conditional. Scry 2. So, okay. This is a 2 out of 5. It's not a 1, but it's a 2. And I think it's going to be very hard to pull off in any sort of good fashion in limited. Clothy's design. Oh, Clothy's. Where's Clothy's? I don't know. Oh, I bet Clothy's is a gold card, huh? Clothy's design. 6 CMC sorcery. Creatures you control get +1 X+X, where X is your devotion in green. That's going to be strong, and no wonder it's the cost of 6 CMC, because it's going to be massive. That's a 3 out of 5, because I think green, more than any other deck, can probably get this out not only quickly, but also to a very strong point. If it said it gave a trample 2, it would be a 4 out of 5 automatically, but 3 out of 5. A Loathsome Chimera, 2 and a green. 4/1. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay, so that's what happens when you drink all this coffee and water and pop. Loathsome Chimera, 3 CMC for a 4/1 creature. Escape cost is 4 green and exile 3. Escapes with a +1. So this is our worst green that we've seen so far. Yeah, 1 out of 5. Limited, you know, it's got a lot of power, so they'll have to answer it one way or the other. Mantle of the Wolf, 3 and a green for enchantment aura rare. Whoa! Creature gets +4/+4. 2. Wait. When the Mantle of the Wolf is put into a graveyard. Whoa! So it's a +4/+4. It doesn't get flash, unfortunately. But also it brings 2/2 × 2 Green Wolf tokens. I think this is powerful, but because of no flash, it's going to be not as good as everyone thinks. 2 out of 5. Because you're going to put this on something, right? Oh, they're just going to kill it. They're either going to shock it down before, or they're just going to have single target removal. And so basically, you're losing a creature, you're losing an enchantment, but you're getting 2 2/2s out of it as kind of like a consolation prize. Yeah, and look at this too. When it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, so not only, yeah, if it doesn't even hit the board, right, if it fizzles on the stack, because the creature you're trying to put it on dies from shock or single target removal, it doesn't get this effect at all, so it's conditional. 2 out of 5. Yep. I think in limited it could definitely have a chance. Moss Viper. Here we go. We got our green 1/1 Death Touch. Just like that Scorpion we have that we never see play of. Limited, pretty good. Constructed, constructed 2 out of 5. And I'm saying that because there's maybe some decks where it has a chance. Great Hand, she's a pretty good cantrip. He becomes a 2/2 Death Touch and draw a card. So 2 out of 5 at best. Mystic Repeal, a green for an instant, put target enchantment on the bottom of its owner's library. I guess. One more CMC, you have Return to Nature with so much flexibility though. It's destroy enchantment or destroy artifact or exile target. I think it's any card, but it might be creature from a graveyard. So 2 out of 5. And in limited, if we're seeing a lot of enchantments in limited, which I think we will, it's just a really good unsummon. So in limited, I think probably a little bit better, but still quite conditional. 2 out of 5. Nessian Boar, 5 CMC, creature boar, rare, 10/6. What? All creatures able to block Nessian Boar do so. He doesn't have haste. When he becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller draws a card. All creatures able to block Nessian Boar do so. I actually think this is good, even though it has a high blowback. So, you know what's funny? You put the board down and your opponent puts down a Moss Viper. And you just get screwed over because you played a 5 CMC and you died to a 1 CMC and they got to draw a card off of it. What's up, Citrus? Yeah, no, I'll probably be done with this in 2 hours, man. I've been going at it for just over 3 hours now, reviewing all of the cards, and then I'm going to throw it up on YouTube. Throw it up on YouTube. So Nessian Hornbeetle, 2 CMC for a 2/2 insect creature. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if able, if you control another creature with power 4 or greater, put a 1/1 counter on Nessian Hornbeetle. So I'm waiting to see our god. Who's our god in green? Boom, right there. Nessian Hornbeetle could be something, but he isn't a creature. Yeah, if our devotion is less than 5. So no, I'm not bought on Nessian Hornbeetle. 1 out of 5. Limited, maybe slightly better. See you, Citrus. Yep, it'll be on YouTube. So, and I'll put timestamps for all the different colors because I didn't plan to make this all one video, but I also didn't want to make 5 different ones either. So yeah, and I wanted to get this up today because all the final cards got revealed today. So it'll have the best chance for people to see it. And then we can start the early access brewing and stuff next week. Woo! Nessian Wanderer, 2 CMC creature, 1/3. Constellation. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a land and put it into your hand. Put the rest. I think in certain decks this is going to synergize quite nicely. 2 out of 5. Limited, I think it's going to have a hard time. Not much better than 2 out of 5 at best. Nexus Warden's 3 CMC for a 1/4 with reach. Whenever you gain 2 life. Boo! Not good, not good. 1 out of 5. He's a blocker and you gain a little life, but that's not what you want to be going for generally. Nylea, Keen-Eyed. Let's check out this god and legendary enchantment creature. Indestructible 5/6. So these gods, what I'm starting to really realize after seeing them all now, essentially all the colors, is you put them on the board, and only if you have, I think, what I would call a winning board, do they get to win more. Otherwise, they're mostly just put down for their 4 CMC cost. I think they've all been 4 for their strong passive effects. So let's see what his passive effect is. Hers. Devotion 5 or less. Less than 5. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Boom. See already, strong passive value. 2 and a green. Reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it in your hand. Otherwise, you may put it into your graveyard. These are insane, guys. Insane. This is a 5 out of 5. I'm trying to say 4, but indestructible. 1 less to cast. Which means you get to put out more should you have the chance to. And then all of a sudden your devotion is up and you're attacking with a 5/6. Ridiculous. Nylea's Forerunner, 4 and a green. 5/3 trample. Enchantment creature. Other creatures you control have trample. Wow. That's pretty strong. That's a 3 out of 5. Yeah, sure. 3 out of 5. Maybe a 2. And limited, it seems pretty good too. Nylea's Huntmaster. That's 4 CMC for a 4/3 creature. When it enters target creature you control plus X plus 0 until end of turn with extra devotion to green. So, okay. Not amazing. 1 out of 5. In limited, I think it'll be worth to get a solid attack in, but meh. Nylea's Intervention. So this one has the double green cost, so let's see if it's strong. I see sorcery. I'm already kind of looking away a little bit. Search your library for up to X land cards. Whoa! Nylea's Intervention deals twice X damage to each creature with flying. I don't really see much use for that second clause in general, but look at that. Look at that ramp. I mean, granted, like, let's say minimum you're going to start to get value at 2. But for 4 CMC, think circuitous route, basically, right? It's a sorcery, getting 2 lands. And it says land cards. It doesn't say basic. It says any lands. Wow. I don't want to give it a 4 out of 5, but I think, no, 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. In limited, kind of slow. 3 out of 5. Right? No. Right? Circuitous route only gives you basic lands, I think, right? This one's a little bit harder to cast in that it has 2 greens instead of the 1. That's a 4 out of 5, man. Jeez. Nyx Herald, 3 CMC, 2/3, enchantment creature. Beginning of combat on your turn, and target enchanted creature or enchantment creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains trample to end of turn. No. It's the beginning of contact on, or combat on every turn though. So he can buff up himself to be a 3/4 with trample. All right, 2 out of 5. And limited, not too bad also. Nyx Bloom Ancient. I think I've seen some or heard some crazy things about him. Let's look. So he's a 7 CMC with triple green for a 5/5. I'm not impressed yet. Let's see what's up. He's an enchantment creature. He is trample. Still, he's just a 5/5. When you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. So, this is powerful. Think about Mana Dorks. Paradise Druid. So that's giving you 3. Permanent. That's your lands, obviously, too. So all of your lands, suddenly you now have triple the mana. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. I'm not going to give him a 5 out of 5 though, because think about it. If you're at 7 CMC, you've already ramped out, right? So unless you have in your hand something ridiculous, I'm talking to you, Hydroid Krasis. Hydroid Krasis, Voracious Hydra. Unless you have those things, the most you can do is empty your hand. Which, by turn 7, do you have a ton of cards in your hand as green? I don't know. Unless, once again, Hydroid Krasis. A broken card. Hydroid Krasis needs to go, guys. It's so good. It's too good, and you know that. This is a 4 out of 5. In Limited, are you ever going to survive till 7 mana? Not to mention, he's just a 5/5. Nyxborn Colossus. 6 CMC for a 6/7 elemental creature giant. Just a dumb beater. That's like 2 out of 5 at best. I'm going to say 1 out of 5. In Limited, obviously a bomb. Omen of the Hunt, 3 CMC enchantment with flash. So enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land, put it tapped, and shuffle, plus scry later on. I think green can do better than this, honestly. 1 out of 5. Limited, sure, decent. Theros Beyond Brawler, 6 CMC for a 4/4 creature. Enters, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Think of Wicked Wolf compared to this. This is terrible. In Limited, it's slightly better, but not much for a 4/4. That's a 1 out of 5. Plummet, 2 CMC. Yep. Destroy target creature with flying. What is that one called? Like cast down or down to earth or whatever. This doesn't seem that good at all. This is a 1 out of 5. Relentless Pursuit, 3 CMC sorcery. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put a creature card and or a land into your hand. The rest into your graveyard. So let's think of it this way. It's a 3 CMC, draw 2 in green. That's powerful, guys. Not to mention, you get 1 of a creature and 1 of a land. So it's, yeah, that's powerful. I'm going to say 3 out of 5. Renata Called to the Hunt, 4 CMC for devotion, power, and 3 toughness. Each other creature you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. And what's the one that, if I can find it? Yeah, Hydra's Growth, guys. Look at that. Hydra's Growth is going to go into decks with Renata Called to the Hunt. Look at that beautiful art. She's automatically a 2/3 at minimum. This is a 3 out of 5. Really good. Yep. And Limited, bomb. Return to Nature. Hey, it's a reprint. Hasn't even been a set, right? I mean, like, we still have this. Just from Eldraine, even. So this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, exile target creature card from a graveyard. Instant, 2 CMC, busted. This is a 4 out of 5. You see it in the decks it needs to be in, sideboard generally. Satitian Champion, 3 CMC. Rare creature 1/3. Constellation, put a 1/1 counter on Satitian Champion and draw a card. So obviously he'll be good. I think he starts off a little bit slow though as a 3 CMC for 1/3. In Limited, when you get this right, it's going to be absolutely massive. But in Constructed, I'm not buying it as much. 2 out of 5. Satitian Petitioner, 3 CMC, 2/2. When she enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to your devotion to green. So at minimum, you're gaining 2. This is still not good. It's just a 2/2 dumb creature. 1 out of 5. Satitian Skirmisher, 2 CMC. Creature 2/1 body. Constellation gets +1/+1 to end of turn. This is crap. 1 out of 5. Too bad, that art's pretty dope. Satitian Training. 2 CMC enchantment aura. Okay, so if you have a creature, you put it on, you draw a card. Already kind of decent. It's a cantrip, but what else does it have going for it? +1/+0 and has trample. I don't think that's good enough. Nope. In an enchantment heavy deck, it could have some legs, but not even that good, right? Not even that good. 1 out of 5. Limited, maybe, barely. Skola Grove Dancer, 2 CMC, 2/2. Whenever a land card is put into your graveyard, you gain a life. Ew, that's terrible. 1 out of 5. Gracious Typhon, 4 CMC, Snake Beast. That looks awesome. A Typhon's escape from the underworld makes armies flee and kingdoms fall. 4/4 for 4. Escapes with 3 counters on it. Okay. I think this is barely decent enough. 3 out of 5, and it's a bomb in limited. He's good. Plus, with all these +1/+1 counters and all the synergy that green has with doubling and additionaling, and yeah, that's could be something to be said. Snake Beast, huh? Warbriar Blessing. Ooh, look at that. Enters the battlefield. Enchanted creature fights up to 1 target you don't control, and it gets +2/+0. So think of like Domri's Ambush, Prey Upon, I think it's called. Bite? Whatever. Something Bite. This isn't too bad. 2 out of 5. Limited, pretty decent, I bet. Wolf Willow Haven, 2 CMC, enchant land. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional forest. Sacrifice it. Create a 2/2. This is like a 2 out of 5. And in limited, it could be decent, I guess. Made it to multicolored. Woo! I like the gold card. So let's see what's up. Acolyte of Affliction. This is our Golgari. 4 CMC for a 2/3. When he enters the battlefield, whatever, put the top 2 cards of the library in the graveyard, then you may return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. What is that Golgari Find Broker? I think he's the 3/4 for 4 CMC. So this is objectively worse there. However, Acolyte enters, you put top 2 into your graveyard. I think this is worse than the Golgari still. I think it is. 2 out of 5. Pretty dope and limited though. Allure of the Unknown. Pretty wicked art, said McKinnon. Said, yeah. 5 CMC Rakdos. Normally you don't see Rakdos that high up. But let's see what we got, guys. Reveal the top 6 cards of your library. Massive. And an opponent exiles a non-land, and then you put the rest into your hand. That opponent may play the... Oh my gosh! This is so wicked! So it's a 5 CMC, draw 5. Look at my hair. But they get to pick probably the best one, and they may cast the card without paying its mana cost. So here's the thing. If you have a deck with a mixture of threats and answers, you'll be okay. But if you have some random chump crap stuff with occasional big dude, you're screwing yourself over when you play this. So put in the right deck, this is very powerful. 3 out of 5. Not to mention in limited, if you pull this, it doesn't matter. The card advantage alone will win you the game. Ashiok Nightmare Muse, 5 CMC. I remember this from the Ashiok versus Elspeth event. Powerful. This is your Dimir. Oh, so happy Dimir's coming back in a way. Create a 2/3 blue and black nightmare creature with whenever this attacks or blocks, its opponent exiles the top 2 cards of the library. So good. So good. So powerful. And it's at 5 CMC. It's not something stupid like Oko at 3. -3. Return target non-land to his owner hand. Then the players exiles a card from their hand. Yep. So this isn't necessarily single target removal, but it's a bounce and an exile, which is kind of cool. I like the +1 better though. Whew, so good, man. -7. Cast up to 3 face-up cards your opponent owns from exile. Okay, yeah. So 3 face-up. That just means 3 known, 3 regular exiled cards, without paying their mana costs. Obviously, that's busted. Unless you just get really unlucky and they only get lands in their exile. But obviously, you'll know if that's the case, and you'll just keep +1ing. So she's strong, and starting at 5 means she pumps up to at least 6. But for 5 CMC, that's more fair than, once again, Oko. Aetris, Oracle of Half-Truth. 4 CMC, another Dimir, 3/2 Menace. Okay. 3/2 though. When enters the battlefield, target opponent looks at the top 3 cards of your separate face down pile, face up. Put 1 pile in your hand, another grab. Woo! So that generally means you're going to draw 2 cards. Or you're going to draw 1 clutch good card. That's powerful, guys. 4 out of 5. That is very good. That's a good one. And a bomb and limited. Bronze Hide Lion. I think I saw this dude and I think he's busted. Let me see. 2 CMC for a 3/3 already seems dope. Whoa! 2 CMC and he gains indestructible. What? When he dies, return it to the battlefield? What? It's an aura enchantment with enchant creature you control. So aura enchantments, I think those have to go on a creature, which means if you don't have a creature, when he dies, it'll fizzle. For real? But if he gets to stick on a creature, you get to once again use 2 CMC to give something indestructible. Infinitely, right? And it loses all other abilities. This is a 4 out of 5 card. I don't know. It may be a 5 out of 5. I don't know if a 3/3 can dominate the meta, but it probably could in a way. Figure out trample and buff it up some. This is a busted card. It might be a 5 out of 5. Four out of 5. Calix, Destiny's Hand. 4 CMC, Mythic, Legendary, Planeswalker, Calix. I think this is a new dude. Starts at 4. +1. Look at the top 4 cards. You may reveal an enchantment and put that card into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom. Exile target creature or enchantment you don't control until target enchantment you control leaves the battlefield. Return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Whoa. So obviously he's only going in one kind of deck. Enchantments. And so basically you can't even use the -3 if I'm reading this correct unless you have a target enchantment on the board. I don't like him that much, guys. You know, he has a potential high upswing, but so do a lot of things in this game. This is 2 out of 5, and it's only in an enchantment deck. Dalikos, Crafter, and in Limited, you'd be hard-pressed to find that many enchantments to make it worth. Dalikos, Crafter of Wonders. So this is our Izzet guy, 3 CMC, rare, legendary creature, 2/4. I just realized this Bronhide's Lion, he's not legendary. Good God. Tap and add 2 colorless mana only to cast artifact or evacuate the artifacts. Equip Creatures you control have flying and haste. Oh my gosh. So this thing, there are so many artifacts out there. And a 2/4 body for 3 CMC is not bad. In other words, it can survive. And you have all these artifacts, these weapons that buff you up pretty ridiculously. And the equipped creatures have flying and haste. I think certain decks need to evolve, and we haven't seen many artifacts in this set, but I think it's going to happen, and I think this guy's going to be a massive part of it. Is he a 3 of 5 or 4 of 5? I think he's a 3 of 5, just because we haven't seen a plethora of artifacts, but I mean, if we get to randomly some sudden busted artifacts, like, and maybe as the standard meta evolves with the next sets, getting those certain artifact spells. So a lot of also the blue-red cards you have, a lot of the blue at least, are flying already, so that's not quite as good. And a lot of the reds have haste generally too. Not a lot, but you know, enough. So some of the benefit might get wasted there, but he is a bomb, guys. He is absolutely a bomb. 3 out of 5 for now. Devourer of Memory. Udemir. 2 CMC, 2/1. Creature, Nightmare. Whenever one or more cards are put into your graveyard from your library, Devourer gets +1/+1 at the end of your turn. Can't be blocked this turn. Put the top card of your library into your graveyard. Seems kind of slow. Seems kind of clunky. 1 out of 5. Dream Trawler. I've saw this card, and I already love it. And I'm going to tell you it's a 4 out of 5. It's not a 5 out of 5, but I'm in love with it. And I'll tell you why. 6 CMC, so already we're going, oof, 3/5. Creature Sphinx, whatever. But flying and lifelink. That's only where it starts getting good, guys. Whenever you draw a card, Dream Trawler gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Whenever Dream Trawler attacks, draw a card. Discard a card. Dream Trawler gains hexproof until end of turn. Tap it. This is a finisher, guys. This is a finisher in Azorius. Maybe like Esper. Maybe. Something like that. But a 1 or 2 of in decks of that color. And I'll tell you what. So you think he's a 3 out of 5? No. At minimum, he's a 5/5. Okay? Because when it's your turn, on the untap, upkeep, draw. So now he's a 4 out of 5 because you drew a card. Plus, when he attacks, you draw a card. So now he's a 5 out of 5. Every turn you're attacking for 5/5 flying with lifelink. And you're drawing an extra card. And if they try and hit you with some weird card, you hexproof it. They're casting a card to try and kill you. You're discarding a card to negate it. So they have to have a board wipe. They have to have a sacrifice. Or they have to have ridiculous -5/-5 Massacre Girl. I mean, technically, the Dream Trawler is susceptible to counters. But what isn't, right, guys? This is a 4 out of 5 solid. Boom. 1 or 2 of in those type of decks. I can't wait to play it. Enigmatic, and if you get it in limited, you make a deck built around him entirely and you win. Enigmatic Incarnation, 4 CMC, Simic. Oh god, Simic. Enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another enchantment. If you do, search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost. What? So this reminds me of Neoform. Neoform, where you sacrifice a creature, you go to the library, you bring it to the battlefield with that converted mana cost +1. But this is sacrificing enchantments to find a creature with converted mana cost +1. I think this is pretty powerful because a lot of the enchantments, they get their value from when they first hit the board, and then they're kind of sitting there to some extent. This is a terrible analogy, but think of something like Oath of Kaya, legendary enchantment. You throw it down, you get 3 damage, you get 3 health. And then really it's just the passive of if they're attacking your planeswalker, which is great when it happens, but a lot of times it's just sitting there. So obviously with Enigmatic Incarnation, you're not really going to be seeing Orzhov colors also, but something to that effect. And then you get to basically tutor for free a card of +1 value. Like, that's amazing. This is a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Limited, I think it's going to be a little bit clunky. I just do. But constructed, there's going to be decks built around this. Just like, you know, the occasional Neoform deck is. 3 of 5. Eutropia, the Twice Favored. Another Simic, 3 CMC, 2/2 creature. Constellation, put it 1/1 counter, then you're flying. Okay, I mean, that's value. 2 out of 5, limited, probably decent. And it can even be on Eutropia, so that's cool. The +1/+1 counter stays, the flying is just till end of turn. Gallia of the Endless Dance. I saw this card, I don't remember what it does, but I just think this art is very, very fun. And somewhere in the background, like right here, this dude, he's like holding a banana. Interesting. But she's having a great time. Looks like a fun party. 2 CMC. It's a Gruul 2/2 haste satyr. Other satyrs you have 1/1 haste. Anthem effect. Cool. Whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, you may discard a card at random. And if you do draw... Boom! That looks fun! So just like the frickin' image shows, I think it looks like a fun card. Obviously, it's going to have to go in some sort of tribal satyr deck to get full benefit, but even if you don't, the attack with 3, the discard 1 to draw 2 is kind of cool. Kind of fun. Random. I don't see this being a super competitive card, but it is fun. If satyrs are a thing, which I don't know. We've seen quite a few satyrs, but I haven't been super impressed. It'll be a 3 out of 5, but otherwise 2 out of 5 fun. And a limited might be fun just because of the 3 or more creatures attacking, plus the 2/2 haste. Haktos the Unscarred. Look at that mana cost. Boros, 4 CMC, 2 red, 2 white. Legendary creature, 6/1. What? Attacks each combat if able. As he enters the battlefield, choose 2, 3, or 4 at random. Okay, let's say I chose 3. Haktos has protection from each converted mana cost other than the chosen number. So that means 2 and 4 protection. And it's for until he dies. Man, this is an RNG card. That's kind of crazy. I think it's way too wild. This is a 1 out of 5. Yep. 1 out of 5. And limited, he might get a little value in. But if you think about it, 4 CMC means your opponent's been playing cards. And anything can get rid of a 1 toughness. Yeah. You get protection from 2/3 or 2/4 or 3/4. But still, he's going to die. I'm sorry. So 1 out of 5. Hero of the Nyxborn. 3 CMC, 2/2. When he enters, create a 1/1 white token. So he's like a 3/3. Whenever you cast a spell that targets hero of the Nyxborn creatures you control, get +1/+0. So this is kind of like our guy in red. But he was a 2 CMC. Granted, I guess he didn't come with a token. There was that other card that was 5 CMC. That was like a 2/4, and then he came. I don't know. So this is pretty decent. This is a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. In certain decks, they'll be pretty useful, I think. Limited. I think there's enough value to see merit in him as well. Here's Clothies finally. Woo! 3 CMC, Gruul, 4/5, legendary enchantment creature god. Alright, so this is another indestructible. In Gruul colors. As long as your devotion to red and green is less than 7. Colossus isn't a creature. Okay, so that's going to be hard to hit. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, exile target card from a graveyard, yours or theirs. If it was a land, add red or green. Otherwise, you gain 2 life and Colossus deals 2 damage to each opponent. I don't like this. It's not that good. It's not bad, obviously, but it's not on the power level of the other gods. 3 out of 5. Yeah, 3 out of 5. Broxa. Now, I think I've seen this dude, and I think he's nuts. Let me see if I remember correct. 2 CMC 6/6. Whoa! Already sounds amazing. When he enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escapes. So already you're thinking, wait, I put him down and then he dies? But when Kroxa enters the battlefield, so when he first comes down and before he dies, each opponent discards a card. Then each opponent who didn't discard a non-land card, this way loses 3 life. Okay, never mind. I'm kind of confused here. So he's a 2 CMC for your opponent to discard a card. And if he discards a land, he doesn't lose 3 life. But if he discards something that's not a land, he also loses 3 life. So it's 2 CMC, discard, and lose 3 life. That's okay. The escape cost is kind of ridiculous in my opinion, though. It's 4 CMC, very narrow casting cost, and it's 5 other cards from your graveyard. So, okay. I think over time he gets enough value to give him a 4 out of 5. Just barely, though. Just barely. Limited seems pretty powerful because discard in general is powerful. Not to mention losing 3 life. Yeah. Kenoros, Hound of Estros, 3 CMC. It's your Orsov dude. Wow. Okay, so 3/3 body, vigilance, menace, lifelink. Creature cards and graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast spells from graveyard. Whoa! So this is your Grafdigger's Cage on a stick? This is OP. 4 out of 5. Enough said. Busted and limited. Awesome. Mischievous Chimera, 2 CMC. It's a blue and a red. I think someone in chat was telling me about this last night. Enchantment creature flying, 2/2. Already seems decent. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, deals 1 damage to each opponent and you scry 1. Is it flash in cards like this? This is amazing. The deal 1 damage just because isn't flash and stuff like that, you're slowly chipping them down. Like you might have 1 or 2 expansion explosions at the end or a Niv Mizzet, but generally you're just trying to chip them down. So that extra 1 damage to each opponent, basically each opponent's turn, and you're scrying 1, that's solid, man. That's a solid, that's a 3 out of 5. It's good for that deck, very good. Limited, pretty powerful too if you have the right setup, instance in particular, or flash cards. Polokrenos, Unchained. We have a Zombie Hydra Legendary, 0/0. 4 CMC Golgari, enters the battlefield with 6 counters on it. Oh my god, it escapes with 12s. What? If damage would be dealt to him while he has a +1, prevent that damage and remove that many. Whoa! And for 3, you can fight. The escape cost is massive. But he escapes with 12 +1/+1 counters. So basically, it gets to do its full damage, and then you remove. Wow. Not to mention fighting targets. Like, this guy's strong. Is he a 3 or a 4, though? I'm having a hard time deciding, so I'm just gonna say 3. 3 out of 5. Busted in limited. Busted. Rise to Glory. 5 CMC. Orzhov Color Sorceries. Choose one or both. I love these cards. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Return target aura card from your graveyard. This is good. Really good. 3 out of 5 solid. You know, obviously you're going to try and pick something with the most value. And if it's a strong creature with a strong aura, amazing. Limited, it might be hard to pull off real value, especially this late. But yeah, 3 out of 5 constructed. Siona, Captain of Pyleus. Is that Wonder Woman? Wonder Woman, if she... Wonder Woman and like Achilles' son, daughter, you know, she looks like that. Or Spartan's daughter. 3 CMC, Selesnya, 2/2 legendary creature. When Siona Captain enters the battlefield, look at the top 7 cards. You may reveal an aura and put it into your hand. Whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a creature, you created a white one time. So this is the master of going wide, just like Selesnya Flavor says. And it helps you find auras. So auras, going wide, pretty awesome. This is a solid 3 out of 5 in that sort of deck. Solid. Limited, yeah, you're going to build a deck around that. Pretty OP. Slaughter, Priest of Mogus. 2 CMC for a Minotaur Shaman. He looks exactly like the dude in WoW. The Minotaur. Go figure. 2/2. 4/2. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, Slaughter Priest gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So 2, generic. Sacrifice another creature or an enchantment. Gains first strike until end of turn. Wow. Is he going to fit into Aristocrats pretty good? I think he could. The 2 health holds him back, and that's it. Yikes. That's a 3 out of 5 solid as well. I think he'll be harder to pull off in limited, but constructed, he could have a place for sure. Staggering Insight, 2 CMC, white blue, so Azorius enchantment aura. Creature gets 1/1 and lifelink, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. What is that thing called? That blue that rotated out. It's enchantment aura, I think. Curious Obsession? Is that what it's called? And this one doesn't sacrifice if you can't attack for whatever reason. Plus it has lifelink. That's strong. That's 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Might even be 4 out of 5. But 3 out of 5. Limited, even stronger. Euro Titans of Nature's Wrath. 3 CMC. Simic colors. Stop with the Simic. 6/6 legendary creature Elder Giant. When Euro enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped. Okay. When he enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life, draw a card, then you put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. So he's ramp for 3. He's draw for 3, and you gain 3 life. Wow. Okay. Wow, so not only is this ramp, but it's also ramp later on, plus a 6/6 later on. It's a cantrip, it's ramp, and it's 3 life for 3 CMC. Plus you gotta think, okay, let me show you something. With this, and something like this as well, you got to think about the sacrifice benefit too. I didn't even really process that yet. So that makes me feel a little bit more solid. Did I say a 3? I'm going to go with 4 out of 5 here because of the sacrifice, especially in Rakdos. I don't see it necessarily as much mattering in Simic, but still, this is super strong. This is a 4 out of 5 too. Yeah. Bomb and limited. Bomb. Warden of the Chain, 3 CMC, Gruul colors, 4/4 creature with trample. Warden of the Chain can attack unless you control another creature with power 4 or greater. 1 out of 5, don't do it. Don't do it. Nope. Not even in limited. I mean, he's a blocker in limited. Fine. Artifacts. Okay, so we've been waiting for these artifacts, actually. So a lot of this, some of these other cards could be different because they keep referencing these artifacts, which we haven't seen any. Because we've only seen all these enchantments. Altar of the Pantheon. Still raining and storming out there. 3 CMC, artifact. Devotion to each color and each combination of colors is increased by 1. Add 1 mana of any color. If you control a god, a demigod, or a laser, you gain 1 life. So this is cool. And especially since it's not legendary, because it's going to help get your gods out, as in creatures. I don't know how popular this card is going to be. It might be a trap. I'm going to go middle ground here. But I think if you're going to play a god deck, you're going to play most of the other cards that like the devotion mechanic. And these are going to go in too. 3 out of 5. Limited, I think it's a trap for sure. Bronze Sword. Here we go. 1 for equipped creature gets +2/+0. But equip is 3. That's rough. Trying to think of any other, I think there was a card that like reduced the artifact cost by 1 or something. Let's think of the Fervent Champion, right? So you would come on immediately, like you'd pay the 1 to put him down, but then equips for free. You would have 3/1 first strike. Cool. This is a This is 3 out of 5. I think the weenie type decks, the aggro type decks, might start making use of this. And in limited, I think it's strong enough. Entrancing Lyre. I saw this artwork. I forget what the text is, but look at that. It's a lyre that has arms growing out of it. Playing with itself for 3. You may choose not to untap Entrancing Lyre during your untap step. X and a tap. Tap target creature with power X or less. It doesn't untap. Okay, so basically this thing can lock something down as long as it's on the field. It's expensive though. 3 to put down, then let's say you're trying to tap down a Gadwick. 3. So it's 6 just to keep it tapped. I mean, granted it can therefore potentially be continuously tapped, but that's too slow. You're better off casting something that just kills something. 1 out of 5. Trap. Mirror Shield. 2. Artifact equipment. Equip creature gets +0/+2 and has hexproof, and whenever a creature with death touch blocks or becomes blocked by this creature, destroy that creature. So it's 2 to put on the board, 2 to equip. Hexproof and +0/+2. I think the death touch, the whole thing, the flavor is awesome, but I don't see it being that relevant. I'm going to give this a 1 out of 5. And in limited, I think it might be slightly better. Nyx Lotus. I remember this. You see Lotus, you got to perk up because Black Lotus. Nyx Lotus, 4 generic, legendary artifact. Enters the battlefield tap. So for 4, you're putting it down. You don't get to use it the turn it comes into play, but the next turn, choose a color. Add an amount of mana of that color equal to your devotion of that color. I think this is kind of a trap, guys. I'm going to say it. This could theoretically tap for 0. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to say a solid 2 out of 5. Certain decks, yeah, they're going to make use of it. But it's just like Lotus Field now. That's what it's called, right? You don't see those decks. Certain ones, yeah, they'll abuse it. Few and far between. Limited? No, too slow. Don't do it. Shadow Spear. It's a generic. 1. Legendary artifact equipment. Rare. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and lifelink. Wow. So for 1 generic, permanents your opponent's control lose hexproof and... Whoa! This is going to save us from the gods. And equip 2? Guys, this thing is busted. 4 out of 5. It has so much value in it and for such a low cost. This thing is busted. 4 out of 5. If you see this in limited, you're picking this and you're playing creatures. That's what you're doing. Absolutely. That's amazing. 4 out of 5. Soul Guide Lantern. 1 generic artifact. When Soul Guide Lantern enters the battlefield, exile target card from a graveyard. Okay. So you put it down, you exile for 1. That's cool. Sacrifice it. Exile each opponent's graveyard. Boom. This saves us from escape. If escape gets OP, sideboard a couple of these in. Boom, boom, boom. We're done. Done. Creature Cauldron decks. Done. And you can even draw a card with it. This thing is a 4 out of 5 also. Insane. These artifacts, I'm loving them. This makes me also excited that Karn can make a comeback too. Thaumaturge Familiar. So in limited, I don't think that'll be that good though, honestly. Thaumaturge Familiar, unless Escape goes crazy in limited. Thaumaturge Familiar, 3 generic artifact creature bird flying. When the familiar is into the battlefield, scry 1, and he's a 1/3. He's too weak. 1/3. Not 1/3. 1 out of 5. Limited, not very good either. Thundering Chariot, 4 generic. Artifact vehicle. I'm waiting to see a good vehicle in standard. Have we yet? I think no, in arena. Thundering Chariot, 4 generic. Artifact vehicle. 3/3. First strike. Trample. Haste. Crew 1. That's not too bad. I mean, I kind of take it back because it's 4 generic. Plus, you have to have another body on the board and you're tapping that other body. 2 out of 5. Maybe in a deck it'll work. Limited. Maybe. 2 out of 5. Traveler's Omelet, 1 generic. So, artifact, sacrifice the omelet. Search your library for a basic land card. Searching for a basic land. Reveal it. Okay. So this is like an evolving wild or something weird. Like a 2 out of 5 tops. Limited, sure. Wings of Hubris. 2 generic. Artifact equipment. Equipped creature has flying. Sacrifice it. Equipped creature can't be blocked this turn. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Equip 1. I don't like this, guys. This is a 1 out of 5. Nope. Field of Ruin. I'm going to go ahead and say it already. 5 out of 5. This is a reprint, and it's absolutely insane. You don't put it in every deck, but almost every deck. Because you get to destroy a target non-basic land an opponent controls. You get a basic land, they get a basic land. Boom, boom, boom. He comes in untapped. 5 out of 5. It's an uncommon. Beautiful. If there's any problem lands in standard, while this is legal, we don't have problems, fam. We don't have problems. So Labyrinth of Skophos. We had that weird Minotaur up there. And colorless. Remove target attacking or blocking creature from combat. Let's see if I can find him. I'm not going to spend forever looking if I don't, though. I think he was red. Minotaur, right? Here. No, that's bad. This is a 1 out of 5. Don't play the trap. I think this Labyrinth is kind of a trap too. However. Okay. So however, I think it might be a 1 of in certain late game greedy decks, because basically it's saying for 5 CMC you can shut something down every turn. 2 out of 5. Temple of Bandit. All these temples, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, 5 out of 5. 4 out of 5. Temples aren't amazing. They're not check lands. I would rather have a check land, personally. But if you have to have something come in untapped, you'd rather scribe than gain one generally. Not to mention better than a guild gate, blah blah. 4 out of 5, all of these. They make decks possible that weren't possible, or better. Let me put it that way. Especially the slow ones. Control, Dimir control, Azorius control. These are better than gaining 1 life. They are. You're gonna need these. Not all of these. Not all these colors necessarily. Like, would you want this in Rakdos? I don't really think so. Slow. Comes in slow. Rakdos aggro. But Azorius, Dimir? Yeah, for sure. Unknown Shores. This is a trap. 1 out of 5. You're better off putting in a basic land. Don't fall into the trap. Beautiful lands. Enough said. I'm going to probably make these my default from here on out. I love space and astrology, astronomy, all that crap. Looks beautiful. So that's a review, guys. This has gone on long enough. 4 hours. Jeez, oh. Thanks for watching. What are my thoughts on Theros? I can't wait to play the gods. I can't wait to play other decks because these lands alone, not to mention Field of Ruin to shut stupid stuff down. What else? There's going to be some interesting interactions. We've already had a lot of artifacts and enchantments be so pivotal in standard, and now we're going to have even more. It's going to get insane. You're going to need your hate for artifacts and enchantments. Oh yes, you will. Not to mention a lot of the creatures now are going to be enchantments or artifacts like Golos, but you don't really see him much. Vantress, Gargoyle, whatever. Keep that in mind. Once again, guys, the early access event starts next Wednesday, which is like the 15th, 14th. I'm going to be streaming all day on the 15th, all the way through the 16th. Then we have that day off, that Thursday, basically. And then Friday, boom, it drops. It's going to be awesome, guys. I can't wait. I know you're excited too. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, I make a random daily deck tech video every day. We'd love to have you back. Consider liking, subscribing, or commenting anything. What do you think about these cards, guys? How off was I on one of the cards that you think? Because this, of course, was 100% scientific, and I know I'm going to be right. All right, guys. Gray Goose out. Gray Goose approved. This is the list. And if I get anything wrong, you be sure and you quote me on it and you send me the video clip. All right. Thanks, guys. Peace.